Hello and welcome to the Friday Night Social. It's Friday the 21st of November 2025. I'm joined at the moment by Mike Dix and Aid Thompson.
What?
How you doing? Friends? You alright?
It's cold. I've got drier lips than a nun. Graham.
Oh God. Oh dear. They're very dry. Guess what I've got? Guess what I've got in my hand? Guess what I'm holding?
Vicks.
Better than Vicks. Only just though.
Got them.
I've got some Baileys, right? But it's Terry's chocolate orange Baileys.
Oh, delicious.
I just heard you. You got excited about that, didn't you?
Yeah.
A bit too excited.
Nice. I'm a sucker. I am a slut for chocolate orange in any capacity. I really am. It's my weakness.
Look at that dirty bastard. Look at that.
Go on. Keep talking.
You can listen to my
this
orange.
could easily... You could just leave us if you like, Mike.
I was going to say,
I'm really enjoying myself.
You have a chat about chocolate
territory.
Yeah.
Lipshin says, "Oh my aid, it's God." Sorry, no. Oh my God, it's aid. Sorry, got it all the way around there. You mean on the Christmas tree or down below me here? On the screen. On the screen. How's your week been? Aid?
Call me Bubba. Great.
I will.
Oh, no,
I do. Putin's got the pictures and everything. There's no denying it now.
My week's been good. It's been pretty full on at work, but and then dentist, which wasn't much fun. But I'm glad that it's the weekend now. Spend some time with the kids, do some fun stuff. How have you guys been?
Been all right. Putting the decks up tomorrow. The rest of the house. This is just for here. For the show.
Yeah, I don't think you need other decorations. I mean, it looks like you're sorted, to be honest.
Well, no, this is for the show, isn't it? The rest of the house hasn't been decorated. So.
And they're like strings of aid fairies for the rest of the house.
But this is this is a real tree, you know, and it's in a pot with soil. Like this is actually going to be. It's alive. It's a living tree.
I assume that all of your decorations were themed.
Yes, they are.
Right.
Yes,
okay.
all over the house. Yeah. This is your dangling baubles. Your baubles.
Sadly, I went to the merch site and I couldn't afford them made.
Yeah.
Graham's doing so well these days, he can afford the £85 per fairy that you're charging for those.
Yeah. If you buy a copy of anything for this Christmas, get the Trump Project. Mike Dix. It's wonderful. Or you could buy a copy of Manufactured Fear by our friend Alex Kerr, who does Political X. He's also lovely. You can buy my book, Man of the World, one of three. The other two I still haven't bothered writing. So if you buy enough copies of this book, I might write another one.
I'm so boring. I haven't got a book.
The Great Brexit Cookbook, which I recommend, which is full of terrible recipes like sparrow and kidneys and gelatine.
We could start like Richard and Judy's books.
Yeah, club, just touting our own books. Anyway, Mike, how's your week been? Has it been awful?
No, I can't complain.
Yeah,
it's just.
You can complain. It's the Friday Night Social. This is what we get together. We get together. And we complain about all this shit that's going on.
my friend Elizabeth told me I'm not allowed to complain anymore about this. So I'm not going to complain from this week onwards. Also, she told me I had to go out tonight to an art gallery, which I did.
Yes.
To see the start of a new exhibition. And she told me I wasn't allowed to make small talk that involved me talking about my arse.
Oh my God. You're not allowed to talk about your arse. What did you talk about?
I lasted 37 minutes before I ran out of things. And also, all the paintings... Right, it's an exhibition called The Wild Things. All the paintings have got naked asses in them. So
fantastic.
I'm standing there thinking, I can't even talk about the paintings.
Can't even talk about the naked asses. That you
I mean, if it's relatable, right? Like it's, I have an arse too. So let's talk about it. I get it.
Look at the size of that man's arse. Talking of arse. Oh, sorry, I can't do that.
I'm forbidden. I can't talk about the dumb bum.
I mean, Schrodinger's bloody cancer week this week. It's been a bit stressful.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. Is that
but it's nothing, right? At the moment, there's just I don't know if there's anything there. But you're just waiting to get the appointment for the treatment, and I'm going to be heading for treatment at Christmas again. And you just think, fucking hell,
fuck!
Why didn't I take Putin's money when it was offered,
and sold out your country?
Yeah.
And then
no, to be fair, he only really sold out Wales, didn't he? So.
Is that even a country? Is it even a place?
It's not.
Does it exist?
Really. It's a principality.
Is it not like Middle Earth or Narnia?
I'm so ignorant about this stuff. Like, so Wales is a country or a nation, or the UK is the country? How does it work?
They're both countries.
It's all sorts of
things.
The
UK
it's a principality.
is a country made of 3 countries. No, 4 countries really. Well, I mean 3.5 because Northern
theoretically
Ireland's not really a country.
Wales does everything we do, though, doesn't it?
So what's the definition of a country? It's a country that has its own language. Wales does. It has secured its own borders, which Wales has. It's in a common grouping with the UK, but it's got its own parliament, which is now called a parliament, not an assembly. It also has our parliament, but then we also had the EU parliament when we were part of the EU. Were we not a country when we were part of the EU?
But by definition, England isn't actually a country, is it? By that definition.
Why?
Because we don't have our own parliament.
Because we don't have our own parliament. Yeah, very good point. So Wales does exist, but England doesn't. So there you go. Graham Haller is being very generous straight off the bat here with a £5 super chat. Thank you.
Keepers.
OMG, just seen a photo of the meeting of Mandami and Trump in the White House, and Trump looks very submissive. Woohoo, call me Bubba, says Mandami. Thanks so much for the super chat, Graham. That's really kind of you.
I reckon he is he's going to be submissive. I think he will feel threatened by him because he's younger than him, he's better looking than him, he's more popular than him, and he's from they're both New Yorkers, right? So
yeah. Only one's hated in New York and the other one's loved in New York.
Yes. So to me it feels like he will be. I could totally imagine him being submissive to him. It's not I feel like Zelensky, when he came to the White House, he was not coming from a position of strength. He was basically going there to ask to continue to get support.
Yeah.
I don't think
Mandani isn't expecting anything.
He doesn't need Trump, really.
No. In fact, the only reason he needs Trump is for Trump to oppose him. Really?
Yeah. Like if Trump is belligerent to him, impolite, unwelcoming in any capacity, that helps him. That further bolsters his, I'm the nice guy. I'm looking out for you guys.
It didn't do Sadiq Khan any harm in London while Boris was in charge, did it?
No. In fact, I was thinking the other day, how many people Donald Trump has derided as a disaster. You know, he always wheels that one. He's like, oh, that guy's been a disaster. And it's basically a sort of badge of honor now. If you get called
a
disaster by Donald Trump, it's so empty, it's so vapid and meaningless. It basically means I'm not MAGA, which becomes your sort of campaigning thing, right?
Yeah.
I
think you're right. Does anyone want to see the picture? Anyone watching? Yeah. Okay, just give me 1 second and I will throw that over to our friends at home who can see it. There he is. There's Mandami shaking hands with Trump, kind of holding hands, weirdly. But there you go. There's a picture of them there. And obviously Mandami in the dominant position because he's standing up, whereas Trump's sitting down. So he does look a little bit weaker, doesn't he?
Also, Trump has spent... look at that. Trump has spent an awful lot of the week... in the Oval Office with Muslim leaders, hasn't he? So he can't really complain.
Yeah. Didn't ask Mohammed bin Salman to wear a
suit.
Did he?
Yeah.
No.
Where's your respect? Why are you wearing a dress in the White House? That's what Donald does when Bubba visits.
Yeah. Storyteller, because Teller was taken, says they forgot to blare out the neck vagina.
Oh, what do they call it? Is it a nussy? Do they call it a nussy?
Nussy, yeah.
Love it.
God. Big news today was that Nathan Gill was sentenced to 10.5 years in jail for being a traitor.
Yep.
Fingers crossed. Maybe that could happen to our friend Nigel Farage. By our friend, I mean our mortal enemy.
Yeah,
I thought your take on your show tonight, Aid, was great. That maybe what Nigel means by being a traitor is that he took money for saying the same things that Nigel was saying for free, basically.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's what I've been wondering about this whole time. Is like if Nigel Farage chooses to inhabit a place in the political conversation where he derides and criticizes Nathan Gill, like this guy is reprehensible, this guy is a traitor, I can't believe he did that. It's like, well, what specifically about what he was saying for payment from the Kremlin is it that you find reprehensible? Because you were both saying the exact same stuff.
Yeah,
like, there's video.
Word for word. There's video of them saying exactly the same things.
Yeah,
he loves Putin. He supports Putin.
He did it for free, though. But the thing about Nathan Gill, right? He only got paid about 10 grand, you know.
Yeah,
it's not like it was £1 million in used fivers. It was 10 grand. You could get a fucking credit card interest free for that from HSBC. But why is he taking money off the Russians? And
we had a conversation about this last year, right? Everybody says it must cost millions and millions to do this, right? It does not.
It doesn't.
No.
Because all you need is an ego who's hard up. And Nathan Gill's the kind of guy that 10 grand would be a reasonable chunk of money. They'll buy him a nice second-hand BMW. You know, he's like quite happy, basically, with that. And the question I would ask all of us on the left who struggle for cash to do this constantly is how much would it take? How much money would you need to be offered for you to, you know, a guy recently, I think I mentioned this before, a sort of acquaintance of mine rang me up and said, Mike, have you ever thought of joining the Freemasons? And I went, no, not at all. And he said, oh, because I'd like you to do some marketing for us. And I genuinely sat there and it took 5 minutes for me to go, Paul, I don't even think you're a friend, to be honest with you. And I said, and also, you're a fairly shit Freemason because you've just rung me and admitted you are one. That's not what you're supposed to do, basically.
You are allowed to tell people you're in the Masons, you know. It's not that secretive. You're just not allowed to tell people what you do when you're in there.
It was the genuine, there was a reasonable chunk. I mean, there was a reasonable chunk of money on the table because they had a reasonable chunk of money. And I genuinely thought about it. And I thought, but I went back to him with a moral conscience and said, look, if I did it, I'd have to have editorial control. I'd have to ask you questions about all the myths and rumors and whatever. And I'd want proper answers. It can't be a fluff piece. And he said, no, we can't do that. It's got to be about recruiting. And I went, well, then you need somebody else to do this.
Yeah. The thing is, though,
so you walk away from it because of your goddamn conscience. Whereas Nathan Gill sitting there going, I don't know, where is Russia? They're offering me £10,000. I'll do that.
The thing is, they go for people who are desperate, don't they? Because, like, I'm not desperate at the moment. So if someone offered me loads of money, hello, Scott. Talking to people offering me loads of money to do things. How you doing, mate?
That's him.
No, but if
I had loads of money,
if I was really hard up, like really in financial predicament, I could understand why someone would just take the fucking money. To be honest with you, but betraying your country, he's getting paid for his MEP pen.
This is what I was going to say. It's like he was not hard up. He was on an all right salary, and you can claim. You can claim expenses after expenses after expenses in roles like that. So I don't think that's a valid defense. But I will just say, like, expanding on what Mike was tapping into a second ago, it is not a huge amount of money that you need to pay to compromise politicians. Like, it was documented, it's a matter of record, that when Boris Johnson and indeed David Cameron were prime ministers, you could pay 10 grand and get a seat at a table at a gala and sit next to the prime minister. Like, imagine, like, if you, I'm sure there's like security checks, right? But if you were like, you know, a soldier for Al Qaeda or ISIS or something, like, you've probably got 10 grand of funding. There's a huge security question around that. Then there's the whole sort of corruption aspect of it. It's like, you know, we're already paying you guys like 90 grand, 100 grand a year. Why does 10 grand a year outweigh the 100 grand a year that you're being paid to represent our interests? Why are you talking about like
girlfriends?
Why is North Sea oil an obsession for politicians when they're already being paid 100 grand a year to represent us?
Because they're getting paid by the oil companies as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so clearly.
It becomes a question of like, how do you manage that? How do you regulate that? And why is it so cheap? Why are they so willing to throw?
But it's also,
before we go on, sorry, I've got a couple of super chats and I need to address some kicking off in the chat here because we've made a bit of a boo-boo because I thought I'd make a little joke about Wales.
Oh, again.
Look, half my family's Welsh. I spent half my childhood in Wales. I have no beef with Wales. I just wanted to lead up to the joke about England not actually being a real country. But I apologise profusely. I'm not having a go at my Welsh brethren or my Scottish brethren or my Irish ancestry. Yuri, Infectinov, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Trump knows nothing about Bubba, but has handled a cockatoo.
Wait.
Should get the squeaky tank out. No, that's great. Thank you, Yuri Infectinov. We've also got Chris C in the chat there. Met Police are not investigating Farage, which is mind-blowing considering
Well, we don't know
everything.
I don't think we know that.
Well, we haven't heard anything. Tim Ballum. Hang on.
They wouldn't tell us.
We'll go back to it. Tim Ballum, thank you very much for the £1 super chat. It's very kind of you. And also Liz Allen, thank you very much for the $10 US. Grandfather was a Freemason. Grandma was an Eastern Star. Mom was Rainbow Girls. Mom just described the third as memorizing a bunch of Bible verses and saying them. Hal Sparks admits he's a Freemason. So thanks very much to Liz Allen there. And I've got one from Aid Thompson that just says, fucking ballsack anus giblets. But he spelled giblets wrong. He spelled giblets with a J.
That was a private.
Was that a
WhatsApp.
super chat? Was that a super chat?
No, it was super. It was a super chat.
Somebody in the chat saying, did Mike not cause more offence? I mean, I don't stand by Graham's apology to the other nations in the UK. Literally, fuck you all. Fuck you all, honestly.
What about England? How do you feel about England?
Fuck them. I mean,
fuck England as well.
They're all like,
what's the point? They're all as bad as each other.
Lines on maps with stupid flags. Just stop it.
Actually, come on. The Welsh flag is cool. It's got a dragon on it. Come on.
It's the coolest flag. That's why we keep it out of the bloody Union Jack.
Yeah, well, the Union Jack's a cool flag, but you don't want to make it.
Everybody would just go, yeah, I really like the stripy Welsh flag. Basically, that's what they'd say if we put the dragon on
it. Chris C, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. No, Met Police have confirmed that they are not investigating Farage. But I just want to acknowledge Scott, because Scott has appeared and he's not said anything yet. So, hi, Scott. How you doing?
Okay, how are you?
All right. How's your week been? Mike's had a shit week. Aid's had a good week. Where are you?
I think I'm somewhere in the middle.
Okay. That's a nice place to be sometimes.
That's an Aid and Mike sandwich, Scott. I mean,
that's a very nice place to
be.
Tim has just dropped £2 in the super chat. Thank you. Could be NCA investigating.
Yeah.
Could be. I don't know. Oh, hang on. What did I say? Scott's gone. No, I was making fun of Scottish people, not people called Scott. Oh, he's gone. It's too late.
It's a genuinely good question as to how they get away with this. How do the right wing get away with this every single time? Look at everything this week, all of the emails about Trump. If any of those were about Obama or Clinton or Starmer, then they'd be out. You know, it's just struck me this week that Angela Rayner makes a cock up on a trust fund for a disabled son and a mortgage, basically, and she has to leave office. Nigel Farage heads up a party where he's been spouting the same shit that Nathan Gill was saying and being paid for. You know, that Aid, you very carefully, because you have a large following on YouTube, said that you're not accusing him of being a Russian agent, but Nigel Farage is a fucking Russian agent. I mean,
that's what Mike says. That's Mike's words, not mine. Not necessarily the opinion of Politics Social or me.
Sue me, you frog-faced gear. I don't care. It's literally
prove you're not a fucking spy.
Yeah, it's evidently he's always been. He worked for RT. The Bannon connection to the you know. We're going to start to sound like MAGA bloody QAnons eventually, because there's this complicated web of paedophiles and right-wing nut jobs across the world, possibly funded by Putin and Saudi oil money.
Yes.
And Bannon has been running around the world with that money in his pocket, offering it left, right, and centre to everybody. And Farage can probably sensibly say that he hasn't taken any direct Russian money because he's not a stupid man. So he's not going to literally take a check from Putin.
Yeah.
But if you get money from Bannon, which he definitely has, there's video evidence of him doing the deal with Bannon to get money into his EU group.
Yeah.
And, you know, fundamentally, that guy is a Russian asset. It's just obvious. And it's either that. The only other tangible way you could say is that Nathan Gill was being paid by Russia to write speeches for Farage, and I could possibly believe that because I think he's also a lazy shit, basically. Yeah. So, it's like Trump is a Russian asset because Stephen Miller hands him a piece of paper and he reads it out.
Yes, exactly. And Stephen Miller is Nosferatu. Pygmalion, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. We all know the Met are above board and there's no corruption there.
Well, the thing about that is, so this is something that has occurred to me more in recent weeks than since the Brexit referendum. But like, you know how we, for understandable reasons, focus on which politicians have been corrupted or may have been bought off by the Kremlin, with a few obvious examples and suspicions. I don't think it's outrageous to think that newspaper editors, political editors, commissioners, producers, journalists would have also been bought off, which would actually explain why there is such little reporting on this. Like, I was looking on a few sort of prominent right-wing accounts earlier. And so, like, Dan Wootton, for example, right? He starts his stuff by saying, no, what does he say? No spin, no bias. That's how, like, his intro. No spin, no bias. Like, welcome back to Dan Wootton, blah, blah, blah. This is the biggest political story of the day, probably of the week. And it's got like no trace of it on there at all. That Bruce Unfiltered guy, much smaller account, admittedly, but he's got an all right following, and he talks about big political stories of the day, and he posts about 2 or 3 videos every day. It's not on there at all. If you go to Ben Leo on GB News, massive account, building prominence, he hosts a show from America every night. There's no mention of this stuff on there at all. It's like, what possible reason, what credible reason could you say for not including that story, that a mainstream, arguably like opposition party, one of the right-hand men has been prosecuted and jailed for 10 years for taking bribes from the Kremlin, and it's nowhere to be seen. They're not even discussing it. There's no mention or allusion or tapping into it or reference to it. It's like, again, to go back to the point I was saying earlier on the podcast, Mike, it's like, if these people were compromised by Russia, and I'm not suggesting that they are, but if they were, what behavior what behavior would you expect to see from them that you're not seeing now?
Exactly. Yeah, I think you said, marching around Trafalgar Square with a Russian flag. Well, I think another 10 grand and Farage would do that. But...
Yeah, he would. Well, it's like Farage is not doing anything for the people of this country. In fact, as I was explaining earlier this week, Brexit has cost 100 billion a year. It's been 5 years now since we left.
Yeah.
So that's £500 billion. £500 billion.
Yeah.
How is he still walking? Graham? How is he still walking around? How does he still have his kneecaps? How does that guy not? How is he not in jail? How is he not in stocks?
Asylum seekers cost us like, £5 a day though, Graham. So I mean, look, you got to weigh these things up.
Yeah, a fraction of that amount. We have got another super chat. We've got a few super chats come in actually. Darian to start with £10. Thank you very much. Nigel Farage has received large amounts of money from Russia TV. Of course, he's a freaking agent via duplicitous means. Absolutely.
Yep.
Who benefited
Join me
from
in the
Brexit?
lawsuit.
Was it us? Did Britain benefit from Brexit? Did we fuck? Who benefited from Brexit? Was it any of the countries of the EU? No. Was it fuck? Was it any other country in the Commonwealth? No. Was it fuck? Do you know who benefited from it? Russia.
Was it Russia?
The only country in the world that benefited from it. All the Commonwealth countries use Britain as a bridge to be able to trade and have discussions and open up meetings and investment opportunities with the European Union. That's now been taken away, although Cyprus and Malta are still part of the Commonwealth and part of the EU. They're not as bigger players and they can't open those doors. And that's been taken away from the Commonwealth. No one even talks about that. Look at what they've done to Gibraltar. Gibraltar's effectively had to join Schengen in order to keep its economy alive. What was it? 97% of people in Gibraltar voted against Brexit. No, the only country that did well out of Brexit in the world is Russia. And they took all the stuff they got out of that and then they spent it on a big war with Ukraine, which has cost the lives of over 100,000 people. One Angry Pagan, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Friggs, love and blessing on this fine Friggs Day. Thank you very much to One Angry Pagan for that. And Talk Madia, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. What do you think about GOP staffer Natalie Green fabricating being assaulted by men? I don't know about that.
Don't know the story. You can guess it, can't you?
Right, and that note, you know what, guys? I thought this was going to be a good idea. My eyes are really itchy tonight, and I just don't know what's wrong with me. I'm not.
Oh no!
I'm not here. I'm not present. It's fine. Don't worry. I'm going to turn you guys on my telly, and we'll just lie in bed, and I'm going to listen to you.
Okay.
But
hey, Scott, get well, man.
I don't actually think I've got anything to contribute tonight because my eyes just itch and they're killing me.
It. That's fair.
Get well, man. Get well.
Yeah. See you soon, dude.
Look after yourself, my friend.
All right.
Bye. Oh, we lost Scott.
Little dude.
Oh no.
We've hurt his eyes.
Yeah. You hurt his eyes.
I know.
Aid with your words, fucking ballsack, anus, giblets. So what happens when you send a super chat like that? It was a super chat though. So ex-federal worker accused of staging own attack with slashers, political slurs on body. A former congressional staffer has been accused of faking a violent political attack that included hiring someone to slice into her body.
What?
Natalie Green, 26.
Why do you need to hire somebody to do that?
And a co-conspirator staged the attack on a nature trail, then told the police 3 gunmen attacked Green, tied her up, and wrote Trump whore on her stomach and cut her dozens of times.
Right.
But apparently she arranged to do it herself.
Right.
Does anything surprise anyone anymore at all?
No.
By any of this?
There were lacerations on her face, neck, chest, and shoulder.
Darian DeStars just donated some money for eye drops for Scott.
Oh, thanks, Darian. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Darian. See, there's some nice people out there who aren't fucking... The police found Green's hands and feet bound up with zip ties.
Right.
But she did it herself. I just, this is just the most maddest story. She faked a violent political attack.
But a lot of those people are probably they were all dragged into the White House, weren't they, for that meeting a couple of weeks ago to talk about Antifa and everything else that was nefariously being organized. Bunch of bloody YouTubers and TikTokers sitting there saying, I've got evidence for it, the hate speech that comes towards me. And then the White House is obviously throwing some resources at trying to follow up any of these stories, and there's fuck all to them. So now they're trying to manufacture evidence to back themselves up. It makes perfect sense, doesn't it? It's like...
Reminds me of, I did a weird news story a couple of weeks ago where there was a kid in Florida, I think, and he faked his own kidnapping and he shot himself in the leg, to sort of back it up. And the police turned up, found him. They were like, "Oh my god, you were kidnapped," but turned out that he really went to town. He really method acted his own kidnapping, and I mean, it's sort of tragic in a way, isn't it? It's like what is the need there? How damaged or traumatized do you have to be to think that that's your...
It could be about the self-deception. I went to see a panel lecture in a local theatre, and it was about... Sorry, there was an animal anthropologist and psychologist there, and she was talking about the fact that that all animals and plants have forms of deception, that they lie. Plants pretend that they're bees, and lizards pretend that they're trees.
Right.
But only apes have the capacity to lie. And of the apes, only humans have the ability, we believe, to deceive themselves, to convince themselves that what they're saying is absolutely true.
Really?
And the example she used was in a bonobo tribe. What do you call it? What's a group of bonobos called?
A troop.
It's not a herd, is it? Troop, whatever.
No idea.
Obviously, there's the patriarch, there's the male that gets to have all the sex, and the younger males run around furtively trying to have sex with the females in the group. And if the dominant male comes over to a young male that's trying to have it away with one of his wives, the young male will cover up his erection and then just look in the air like basically completely giving it away. But with human apes, we have this capacity to deceive ourselves, to believe that this narrative is true. And that makes it, and then she brought up a picture of Trump and said, here is an example of a human ape that genuinely she believes what he's saying, even though it's ludicrously untrue.
We've got a couple of super chats coming. First of all, thank you very much to Tim Ballon for the £5 super chat, which also triggered. Oh, I haven't got it set up. Hang on, one sec. I will go. Just keep talking for a moment.
Okay.
Go on, say things.
Wouldn't it be nice if there was some kind of digital confetti or something on the screen right now?
Oh, but there is. Look, confetti! Yay, confetti! Thank you very much to Tim for putting the 10th super chat in there that allowed us to get the confetti out of the confetti box. Ms. Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat as well. If the US cuts off Ukraine, the only two things Europe not be able to cover are Intel and Starlink. These are going to have developed. The intelligence is huge, isn't it? That's coming from the United States and will be cut off by Trump next Thursday when Ukraine have got to say no. But Mike, before we go on to another topic, can we just go back to this story about this woman who pretended that she was attacked? I mean, I've seen the pictures and it's fucking horrific. Green later told law enforcement officers that her attackers had struck her on the head, held her down, and used a sharp object to cut her and written the messages found on her body, right? An investigation revealed that Green had paid an artist specializing in scarification to use a scalpel to lacerate parts of her body in a pattern that she directed ahead of the incident. And this was to make people who hate Trump look bad. This was to make liberals look bad. This was to make Antifa look bad. And she, I mean, it's not just that, like, she got some stage makeup and they wrote on her in the marker pen. They literally cuts all over her body, like really deep cuts. Just, it's sickening. Absolutely sickening. What is wrong with these people? What is wrong with these people? These Trump people? They're fucking nuts.
Also, it's fundamental evidence for why we didn't fake the moon landings, because there's just a tattoo artist involved in this crime, and already we found that out.
Well, exactly. There was a story this week on I Fucking Love Science about the fact that they wiped the landing, right? The original footage from it, the digital footage. They wiped it. No, it wouldn't be digital. Sorry, the video footage. Because what we saw on TV was a TV camera pointed at a screen. So it was filming the screen. That's why it's so fuzzy and ghostly. But the original image was quite high definition.
Right.
But it got taped over. It was on a tape and it got taped over with some satellite data. Because
it's really expensive to record that stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like an old episode of Doctor Who. Anyway, so we've lost the moon landing originals. We got the copies, obviously.
It just like I can totally see why people go down a sort of rabbit hole or get into the conspiracy theory.
Yes,
stuff
weed, Adrian, weed.
No, because it's the most significant like scientific achievement, certainly of that decade, if not the entire century. Probably, and it's like, are you seriously telling me that somebody just went, oh, okay.
But it was done in a rush, like literally it was a mad rush to try and beat the Russians. And therefore there's levels of incompetence in there. And also, like with most space missions, most of the scientists can't see the point of sticking cameras on things. It was people like Carl Sagan in the end that said, no, look, film everything and keep it. Yeah. Because otherwise people won't believe you've done this.
Sagan says, bet they recorded porn over it. Debbie does Dallas. Sorry, what are you going to say?
Always got to go dirty. Jesus
I do. Talk Maddie has put in a £2 super chat there. So believe all women isn't relevant. Yeah, I mean, the police believed her to start with. And then they did some investigation and realised that there was something weirdly afoot. But yeah, I think generally a good standing is believe women, because men are more likely to be raped by another man than they are to be accused of something that they didn't do.
Yeah. I think for me,
and just because that made me take a sharp intake of breath, that comment, and I don't know if it was meant in that way, But ultimately, as you say, Graham, it's about they did believe her, and you should believe it. You should listen to those stories, but you then investigate. And if they're lying, they're lying.
And it's usually quite easy to prove if they are lying.
When people don't believe them and don't investigate, that's the majority of cases that are the problem.
And that's why so many rapists get away with it. Ernie Burns doesn't believe that it's a troop of bonobos. He's saying that it's an orgy of bonobos because that's all they do. Yeah. They just sit around and fuck all day.
They certainly do.
Aren't cats deceptive though? Because they have many owners.
Yeah,
are they?
Yeah, because they have more than one owner.
Cat bastards.
They deceive.
Yeah, but it's about
people to think dogs. They're the only.
It's about intent. I don't think cats actually turn up and go, "You are my owner," do they? They just go, "I happen to be here eating, and if there's no food, I will eat you.
I'll let you stroke me."
As a dog will as well. Sorry, Aid, what were you going to say about your dog?
I was going to say, like, do you think there's something in like the toxicity and radicalization of Republicans, and then to some extent over here, like far right flag shaggers, where they need the left to be so frenzied and uncivil and violent. They need that to be the case to such an extent in order to justify their own frenzied, frog-boiled radicalization. And so they're actually willing to adopt that behavior themselves. It's like a sort of weird, inverted, paradoxical form of projection. It's like, if I pretend that I have been attacked in this way by the far left, the radical left, then that gives me justification for my own uncivility or lack of civility. Is it like a sort of mental exercise, conscious or unconscious, in that regard?
I think you're onto something. It's I think there's also this thing that comes up a lot, particularly in the States, where Antifa must be paid to do this. Somebody's paying them to do this. And on the left, we never sit there going, Tommy Robinson's mates, they're all paid to be there. We just go, they've got nowhere else to be, and their wives and girlfriends have said, yeah, fuck off for the weekend. We don't want you around, basically. It's like, we never question the fact that they're being paid. And it comes back to that Russian question of how much would you have to be paid to do this?
Fuck all for most of them. Nathan Gill,
makes no sense.
He's gone to jail for 10.5 years for 10 grand.
Yeah.
That is just pathetic.
Well, 10 grand's all they found.
Yeah, true.
In this case,
true.
Basically.
Yeah,
that's the case they brought against him, isn't it? Because it's the one they had the evidence for, but we don't know what else has.
Well, also,
just to go back to that very briefly, I think when you said about the small amounts of money and why do they do it when they're getting £100,000, I think there's two things there that you got to take into account, because that's kind of the Prince Andrew thing as well, which is that they hang around with wealthy people. When you're a politician, you get to hang out with the billionaires and millionaires, because obviously they want influence over you. They show you some of that lifestyle, and you can't afford that. There was that article this week about 100k not being a high wage in London anymore, and 100k if you're hanging out with Jeff Bezos is definitely nothing. He's probably got servants paid that much money. And then the other thing is the tax-free nature of the 10 grand that you get in your pocket. And if you're Kash Patel and you've got a 26-year-old girlfriend who you want to show the high life to, you need every penny of cash you can get your hands on in order to pay for the private jets and stuff like that.
I wonder if it's more like sordid than that. A cash payment here, tax-free, is cool, right? That's an allure, and that's what they found. And then I think they probably said to him, and I'm assuming wildly here, right? But there was probably like Russian paid like limousines. Like if you need anywhere you need to go whilst you're in this city or that city, you just call this guy, he'll come pick you up. And there's no way really you can sort of trace that stuff. It's like a gift in kind, isn't it? It's just a thing.
Staying in a mansion here and a yacht there.
And then there's going to be girls. And I think if you are a politician, married or unmarried, and maybe you like to get a bit freaky, maybe you're always a bit of a loser with the girls, socially awkward, and then suddenly this guy comes along to you in a bar and says like, look, you were going to say this stuff anyway, what if we give you a script and it's got a couple of tweaks. We'll pay you 10 grand for the script, but also you can like hang out with us and like you can come to this party and that bar. You can stay in the penthouse. There's women. Do you like women? Yeah, I like women. I can never get women normally. Like, and it's just it's a high life. It's a gift in kind. It's all the things that they've always fucking wanted.
Yeah.
And now there's some guy here,
and it's a classic mafia trick, though, isn't it? I mean, Russia is a mafia state, and effectively they just, hey, look, come to the club, come behind this bar, come to the private members bit out the back. You're a good lad. Now just go and prove your loyalty to us, basically, and you can have this high life, And then you end up a drug dealer wandering the streets of Brighton trying to flog things. Oh, sorry, I'm just personalising it again.
There's not an argument. People talking in the chat about the moon landings. God, we shouldn't have brought that up, should we?
Never bring that up.
Elle's asking about who took the pictures of the LEM taken off. Well, they left the landing module on the moon with a camera on it. In fact, they left the Hasselblad cameras that they took. They left the actual cameras on the moon. They're still there if you want to go and grab them. They took the film out and brought it home, but the rest was being transmitted
what do we think about
from the moon. You don't
Stanley
need someone
Kubrick
turning a thing.
Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
And all of those references in The Shining to the moon landing, Apollo.
Yeah.
Does that not weird anybody out? Is that like, what is that about?
It's just coincidence.
Carl Sagan used to say that, apparently NASA did approach Hollywood and said, look, could you fake this?
Really?
And Hollywood did a budget and said, I think it'd probably be cheaper to do it on location.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things. First of all, the shadows, you need to make parallel shadows. To do that, you need a light source, which is a very, very, very long way away, i.e. the sun.
Right.
Otherwise, if you just have a bright light in the studio set, which you'll need, you couldn't do it outside because you need the dust to come up from the ground, and that would just get taken away by a single gust of wind. It would be like trying to shoot something on flour. But the other thing is, from a technical point of view, they didn't have the special effects to do that. The particular thing they didn't have the special effects to do is the way they moved on the moon. They would have had to have some method of slowing the film down,
suspended,
which requires you to speed the film up, going through the film camera.
Well, even that wouldn't work. You'd have had to reduce the gravity with strings above them, like they do some of the tests, basically, and they didn't have the capacity to cut those strings out of the picture live.
And you look at the special effects.
All of the stuff in 2001, it took like 5 passes through a camera to get most of those effects because there's no digital effects. You literally have to film models with masks, etc., etc. So there was just no way you could do it. You couldn't, even if you'd recorded it and played it back, you wouldn't be able to do it at that level, basically.
That's interesting.
If you look at the scene on the moon when they've got where they find the monolith in Space Odyssey, 1968, the shadows they don't converge. What's the opposite of converge? They
diverge.
Diverge, yeah, they diverge.
So on a scale of actually, let's this would be funner. Which do you think is more credible? The conspiracy theory that we have faked the moon landing, or that America did, or the conspiracy theory that Diana was murdered
by the people that faked the moon landing?
I think the chances of either of them being a conspiracy are
really
zero. Yeah. I mean, when you say the Americans faked it, well, the Australians got it was the Parkes dish in Australia that got the signal of them landing on the moon, and they had to send it, bounce it off a satellite to NASA to send it out to the rest of the world.
I just come back to the tattoo artist and this woman. Like you're talking about 10, 15, 100,000 people that would have to keep this a secret. And also, if you're
the moon landings would be 1 million people,
10 years at least, 10 years at least.
Patrick
on going into work every day, and it's a lie.
Yeah,
basically, what you're doing is a lie. There's
Patrick Moore was involved, so that was us. Arthur C. Clarke was also involved, so that was us as well. And Carl Sagan, I know he's a Yank, but I would have trusted that man with my life.
Plus,
nothing ever came out about him, did it? It never turned out that he was a wrong 1 years later.
Plus, there was a Nazi in charge of the whole thing. So
I know you would have made the story better, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
This was definitely not a Nazi who put us in space.
If you're going to fake it, you would definitely have an American doing it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it'd be like Captain America. It'd be like Charles Bronson or someone.
Only reality could offer that redemption arc.
It was the guy who designed the V2 rocket that was shot at Londoners and murdered Londoners.
Yeah. Brown, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The same
genius.
guy.
Absolute genius, though. Just turns out the best way to get money under Hitler was to kill people, basically.
Andy makes the best point about it, though, Aid, which is the Russians could track the Apollo capsule on the way to the moon, and they would have mentioned it. It was the height of the Cold War.
Yeah.
The whole thing was just to beat Russia.
Exactly.
There was even John F. Kennedy at the time, before he got shot, he was like, this is a big waste of money, but we have to beat the Russians.
Wait. Before he got shot, he said that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But who shot him, Aid? I think it was Princess Diana
afterwards, he's changed his tune quite a bit. He goes, one day it's like the earth is flat. One day
suspiciously quiet ever since. Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Elvis. I'm trying to do a Zoom call.
So what I'm getting at this stage is that we are all in agreement that the Diana conspiracy theory is probably more likely. Is that fair?
No.
Are we all agreeing that?
No, famous people die every day, Aid. It just happens.
Weirdly, I was talking to my missus about this earlier, about a sort of face-to-cam guy who was like opining about conspiracy theories. It was about Tupac Shakur. And Tupac Shakur was murdered in Las Vegas, very famous rapper, obviously like Biggie and Tupac, big East Coast, West Coast thing. But when he was murdered, this guy was talking about it, and he was saying about people who said he faked his own death because he wanted to go move to Cuba because the gangster rap stuff was getting all out of hand, so he faked his own death. And he was saying about those people, those conspiracy theorists, he was like, it is a convenient thing to run to this idea that it's all planned, that there is a plan behind these events. And he said, because the alternative to this is hugely uncomfortable for many, many people, that actually life is a violent, unpredictable mess. And you could walk outside of your house and get hit by a bus. You could stumble across a gang and they might not like the look of you and murder you. Yeah. Or you could, if you were a gangster rapper, piss somebody off and they might actually come out and start shooting you.
Yeah. That's along the lines of what Alan Moore said. The guy who wrote Watchmen and V for Vendetta. He wrote, the main thing I've learned about conspiracy theory is that conspiracy theorists believe in a conspiracy because it's more comforting. The truth of the world is that it's actually chaotic. The truth is that it's not the Illuminati or the Jewish banking conspiracy or the grey alien theory. The truth is far more frightening. Nobody is in control. The world is rudderless.
And we look for explanations and reasons, don't we, for things, simple ones? I mean, that's how religion...
We see patterns.
That's an
ADHD thing, seeing patterns in things.
Yeah, I tell you, I've had a week this week of trying to work out whether my mum making me have my tonsils out when I was 8 is what caused leukemia in me, basically. Turns out maybe.
What?
I rang her and said, look what you did to me.
There's a rabbit hole for you.
I didn't realize your tonsils actually are lymph nodes. They're part of your lymph system, and it's my lymph system that's failing me, basically. So maybe I should have kept my tonsils. Maybe that ice cream when I was 8, which was the best jelly and ice cream I'd ever had in my life, after a tonsillectomy, maybe it just wasn't worth it.
It was,
One angry pagan has given us a $5, and he says, I hate conspiracy theories. The history of life on Earth and speculative ideas of extraterrestrial life is complex and mysterious enough as it is, in my honest opinion. Absolutely.
See, I get that, right? And I get that, and I get the comfort that conspiracy theories give to people. But I also think it would be remiss of us not to consider that it provides a very convenient cloak for people who do want to do nefarious things. So if you did want to off a princess or former princess or whatever because you were worried that she was going to get pregnant by a Muslim guy and you felt like that was an embarrassment or blah blah blah, then you could say, oh well, it's just a bunch of conspiracy theorists and they like to take comfort in order where actually life is chaotic.
That's the irony, isn't it? This is what Trump does. Trump, as soon as he had to do a flip flop on the Epstein files this week, Trump just turns around and says, "I ordered that they release these files." And he goes, "You've spent 9 months trying to stop it." Yeah. We know that's not true. And then he says it's a conspiracy theory by the Democrats.
He says it's a hoax. Well, let's backtrack a little bit. They said they're going to release the files. Then they said the files don't exist. Then they said actually the files do exist, and we are going to release them. Now they're saying we won't release the ones that are under active investigation that Donald Trump just asked us to investigate a minute ago. They're never going to release. There's no way that they're going to voluntarily expose King MAGA to embarrassment or any sort of electoral liability. It's just not going to happen. So where this week he said I've directed them to release the files, I'd be absolutely gobsmacked if anything is released that
did you see
exposes him.
The analysis that this struck me the other day, and I wish I'd tweeted about it, but the theory is that Pam Bondi is the one that's going to restrict the release of these, because there is a line in the bill that says unless they're under current investigation. Yeah. And the day before that, Trump had said, "I want an investigation," and Pam Bondi said, "We're on it." Yeah. Right. But Trump's specific instructions for that investigation were investigate the Clintons, Morgan Chase Bank, Larry What's-his-face, and these Democrats. Mm-hmm. Right. So if they're the active investigations, that means they can release the stuff that isn't under active investigation, which is the 10,000 mentions of Donald fucking Trump.
Right. But
they can't get away with this unless they say, and then they've got a problem, right? Unless they say, well, we can't release the stuff about Donald Trump because he's involved with all these Democrats because he was giving Bill Clinton a blowjob. So fundamentally, they're trapped whichever way they do. They're not playing a clever game here, basically. They're going to look bad whatever happens.
I know what you mean, and I do agree to some extent. I think he'll be incriminated and coloured by his decision-making here. But also, there's two things. The first thing is that right-wing media, I was watching a bit of Fox News the other day to see how they were covering this, and they're barely covering it at all. So there's that whole thing. It's like, how do you convince Republican voters or Republican adjacent voters, like their family members, their friends and colleagues, that this is a problem when they're barely hearing about it? As far as they're concerned, it's just off in the distance. The second thing is, I have to believe that there is some sort of strategy to this, with the lawyers within the Trump administration, with his friends, with Pam Bondi, with anyone connected to the Republican Party, where what they're actually doing is they're saying, okay, look, Trump is, and I'm speculating wildly here, Trump is implicated with Clinton, with 2 or 3 other people. And by directing the DOJ to investigate those 2 or 3 other people, actually what he's doing is protecting himself, because then those things will be closed off. They won't be able to talk about them. They'll be under an active investigation. And so he gets to look like he's taking decisions, he's taking action, he's going after the bad guys, whilst also concurrently, he's like, oh, look, I've released 30,000 files or whatever it was.
He'll try it, but they're incompetent. People are already analysing these files. Have you seen the sperm diagram?
No.
There's a diagram of the number of instances that Donald Trump, that people are mentioned. There's a bunch of coloured dots.
Right.
And it's just possibly the nature of the graph they chose on purpose. It looks like a sperm, basically. And the head of this sperm is all the mentions of Donald Trump.
Really?
It's like 10 times the number of mentions as anyone else. And that's just so far in, because they published them in such a way that they were difficult to search.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of scans and photocopies, basically. But there are people on it at the moment who are just digitizing everything and making it searchable. And
I've heard,
and you can't discount the fact that they're lazy and incompetent. You know,
well, just before we jump,
I guarantee you, the FBI guys that were set the task of redacting Donald Trump just got bored after 2 days and went, "Fuck it, let's just draw random lines on this and send it back to Pam." Basically.
Well, every single redaction has to be justified. They have to have a written justification for every single redaction. Ernie Burns, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Apophenia, I think, is seeing patterns in random things. Apparently.
Yeah,
that's why we see faces in clouds, but not clouds in faces.
I wonder why. Like, well, I wonder if, like, am I affording order and strategy to the Trump administration in the same way that conspiracy theorists afford order and strategy to chaotic mayhem?
I think there's an overriding. You
believe Diana was killed by a conspiracy theory, so yes, you're susceptible to this shit.
But no, with Trump, I mean, they do have a plan, but they're idiots. They're quite incompetent. The people around him. He has got his Fox News anchors to carry out this stuff. I think the people who put the plan together, who work for the Heritage Foundation, the Koch Institute, the Federalist Society, I think they know what they're doing. They're experts in planting these seeds of chaos.
They also don't care so much about whether it's Trump in charge, or the next. You know,
Trump is a useful idiot for them.
They're building up Nick Fuente at the moment to be the next one, or Tucker Carlson, aren't they? So it's. I think if anything, what's going on at the moment is that Trump is a lame duck president anyway, because we all know the only plan he's got for 2028 to get re-elected is another January the 6th type maneuver, probably a bit more sophisticated than last time from what they learned, but he's going to try exactly the same thing. May or may not work, who knows, basically. But, you know, did you see the thing, actually, just as an aside, the thing the Democrats did, some Democrat senators and Congress people did this week, where they put out a video. They're all veterans, either Army, Navy, Air Force, or NASA veterans and CIA, and they came out with this video that essentially said was aimed at troops, and it said it is not against your oath is to the Constitution, and if you carry out an order you know to be illegal, you will be submitted to the law. They literally just told them the law. Right, which is that if somebody tells you here's a bucket full of babies, kill them all, you can say no because it's illegal. And that's all they said. They didn't do the baby thing. It wasn't even that extreme. And the MAGA have gone mental at this. Trump has gone absolutely mental at this because essentially, you know, the Democrats, I think, are going down the right routes, which is to say, look, he's going to try and mobilize the army against American people, and the army are going to be, and it's like in any revolution, you know, we normally think of revolutions as being reasonably good things against dictators. This is a revolution by a dictator, and in the end it's going to be down to whether the police and the army take the side of the dictator or the wannabe dictator. That's what they're gearing up for now over there. And you're right, Aid. I think I was watching some Fox News this week just because I'm a sadomasochist, and genuinely it is not. You're not getting any of this story at all. And in fact, a number of their anchors at the moment are trying to make the case that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't even a paedophile. He just, like, you know, barely teen kids. And that's women. Meghan, what's her face on Fox News? Megyn Kelly saying, you know, he just liked them on the slightly younger side. There's nothing wrong with that. And you go, what the fuck are you doing?
And she's on record from like 8 years ago or something, talking about men being predators to young girls, like 13, 14 years old, which is the same age as Epstein was grooming from.
Well, she was assaulted by Roger Ailes, wasn't she? Wasn't she part of that?
I have no idea.
Problem, basically.
But yeah,
he was the Fox News guy, wasn't he? Roger Ailes.
Yeah, Roger Ailes, but also Bill O'Reilly. I think, was it Chris Rock or was it, I can't remember who it was that did a like stand-up routine about it, where it's like, you know, we still don't know what Bill O'Reilly did to that poor woman, that he paid her, or she received damages of somewhere in the region of like $30 or $40 million. And it's like, it was basically like 75% of this guy's net worth. like, what the fuck did you do to that poor woman that you had to pay her like that amount of money just to keep her quiet and lock her into an NDA? That whole channel's a cesspit, man. It really is.
Megyn Kelly. Eddie Byrne saying Megyn Kelly was part of the Me Too movement.
Me Too, she was.
And now she's Meghan R. Kelly.
Wait.
Hey.
Guys, I gotta go. I gotta run in a sec. Yeah.
Oh, mate.
Sorry,
man.
Don't leave Graham with me in this mood, mate.
It's always a pleasure, but I've got swimming with the little one tomorrow morning, so I gotta go.
But then, how are we going to sit here and explain that conspiracies aren't real?
I have no idea, but I wish you the best.
Next week,
the lizard people might help you.
Can you get Jacob to come on the show instead of you? Is that?
Yeah.
It's a bit late for
it's
him.
All right. You'll still be here in spirit, Aid.
It would be a great Friday night social to have Jacob just telling us about all the equipment in your studio. That would be great.
He loves it. He loves it. He's a little techie dude. But yes, maybe at Christmas I'll let him stay up that late.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, guys.
Okay.
Thank you very much,
Thanks
everyone who's watching.
Thanks so much, Aid. See
you later, guys. Bye.
If you want to follow Aid's channel, it's at Aid Thompson with an I. Oh, it's just me and you, mate. Oh.
What are we going to do?
I don't know. We'll do the witching hour. Right.
Starmer.
Somebody
in the chat's talking about Starmer. How pissed off are we about the Labour leadership at the moment?
I asked Phil, like, do you reckon Starmer's still going to be leader in the next election? He's like, no.
I think this Burnham story is broiling away, isn't it?
Well, I mean, that seems like the obvious replacement. But just the fact that they have fucked this, they got the biggest majority in years. They got this power handed to them on a plate, and they've just fucking squandered it. One of the things that used to wind me up about the old Blair government was when they won the landslide in 1997. They didn't capitalise on it as much as they could have done. They kept the Tory spending promises for a while. They brought in tuition fees.
They always feel like they have to be demonstrate that they can be as competent as the Tories, even though they always follow an incompetent Tory government. It's like, what is it you're trying to prove?
There's that thing of like, people think people on the left are bad at economics, and people on the right are fantastic. People on the left are bad at running businesses, and people on the right are fantastic at doing that. Natural entrepreneurs on the right, because selfish psychopaths, I guess.
It's depressing, I think, at the moment. Just the inability. I think I shared something in the WhatsApp group this week of because I know you've been going on about the comms a lot, and I agree with you, but they put out some TikTok video that was just god awful, and the font I think gave you nightmares anyway that they used. It was a particularly inappropriate font, but just everything about it was just so awful. And it was supposedly saying, we've done all these great things, we've built 150,000 new houses, we've done this, we've done that, we've done that.
Yeah,
but the whole nature of the video was it was like a pension advert or a care home advert.
It was so bad. It was so bad. Now I've over the last couple of episodes, I've shown the when it was with Phil this afternoon, I showed the Wes Streeting tweet where he spelt
prescription
instead of prescription. He spelled prescription wrong. And then this morning,
and also I didn't mention, I don't know if you mentioned it with Phil, I didn't manage to see that this afternoon, but the that was an AI generated artwork as well. That's what pissed me off the most about it. It's
what was it?
It's not even Photoshop. They're not even paying somebody a reasonable wage to make these damn things.
And it just
they're useless.
Shit. It just, I'm sick of seeing AI slop. You just see it straight away, and you're like, I don't want to see this. I report it every time I see AI on Facebook. I report it. I just go, I don't want to see this. Why not? I said, markers generated by AI. I'm going to keep on reporting it till.
And this is the quiet nature of the Labour government, right? Today they've announced 2 AI hubs in Wales, 24 billion pounds worth of investment going into Wales to support AI and to try and keep a British tech base for AI, but actually nothing at all about regulating it. All of it is about building small nuclear power stations in Wales And there's a reason we're doing it in Wales, not just for the economic reasons. I don't want to offend the chat, basically, but it's a lot easier to get planning permission to put a nuclear power, a new developmental nuclear power plant in Wales than it is in England. You can't build those in Surrey, basically, which is actually where they're made. But anyway, £24 billion of investment. I mean, Donald Trump would be wandering around fist bumping men in dresses to talk about this. All right. And we put up some junior Welsh minister to talk about it. You know, and then nobody asked the question of the government, well, what are you doing about regulating this? What are you doing about making sure that it isn't American and Chinese influence over AI in this country? None of it. None of that being asked at all, basically. The government are just sucking up to these AI companies. And all of that investment is coming from Seattle and China. It's not British money going into that.
Why are they so bad at this? Like, why are Labour just really shit at... Why are they shit at this? They're just fucking shit at it. What are they down to, 11% now?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It just feels to me like we've been saying this endlessly, haven't we? That you cannot out Farage. Today is evidence. The man is a fucking Russian agent. Yeah. His best friend, who ran the Welsh version of his party twice, is a Russian agent, proven and now in prison. We shouldn't even be considering treating these people as serious and their politics as serious. And yet we are constantly trying to lean into them. You know, our new Home Secretary is more rabid than Farage at this stuff.
The thing is with what they've proposed, right? So here's a bit of a theory here. Aid would like this if he was still here. How about they get a woman of Indian descent to go up and say the things that they want, you know, that they know that the what's it called, the RefUK lot will love, right? They're going to be really horrible to refugees, treat them really badly, make them review their case every 2.5 years, send them back if their country's up.
20 years before you get citizenship.
30 years for some, you know. This is talking about 30 years citizenship. And that might even just be to indefinite leave to remain, but then, you know, Farage might be in and just tell everyone with indefinite leave to remain they've got to leave. But what if the good stuff that's in there about safe legal routes, about giving refugees money to fuck off, well, failed refugees money to fuck off, rather than dragging it through the court system, which costs 10 times more than just giving them a few grand to go away, which is what they do in Denmark, by the way. What if, right, they've got this raft of things because they know that the backbench Labour MPs are going to vote down. They're going to put in amendments voting down all the radical stuff that's really horrible to refugees and just leave the safe routes and the other bits that are good.
I mean, maybe.
But then that would require them to have actually thought about it for 5 seconds. And I wouldn't put it past them not to have done that.
I don't think there's any easy solutions to it, but it is about your tone, isn't it? And I was the other day I was thinking that there's all this outrage about Mahmood and the way she's talking, and I thought, well, I seem to remember Jack Straw was a pretty hard-nosed Home Secretary under Blair, and I went back, and David Blunkett as well, and I went back to look at some of the things that they'd announced, right? And there were things like safe routes. There were, you genuinely look at all the policies that they implemented, and in my memory, they were quite hard-nosed for Labour people. They were quite hard-nosed Home Secretaries. Yeah. And actually, they brought in a load of reasonable policies that we would now accept as being okay, right? So this is much more extreme, what they're talking about. And if any of these things do creep through, and also, you know, like this strategy of putting an Indian descent person into the Home Office so that it's difficult for people to criticise, that's what Boris Johnson did, you know. Priti Patel and what's her face Braverman, basically. It's let's put a brown face up to say the racist stuff. That's, you know. So what? We're just copying Boris Johnson's techniques of government. That's what we're doing now, is it? And I'm fairly certain McSweeney
racist is going to make anyone less racist. I don't think anyone who would have looked at Mahmood on Monday morning and called her the words that she said in Parliament, would not want to say those same words to her on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
After she said that. And they're not going to go, oh, well, she's one of the all right ones. You know, they're not. Racists are racist through and through.
It's like the thing going on in MAGA at the moment around anti-Semitism, where all of a sudden Jewish MAGA influencers are calling Nick Fuentes out, and the fact that MAGA is adopting Nick Fuentes. Yeah. But Trump has said so many anti-Semitic things in his life as well, basically. And so the Jewish businessmen and billionaires and whatever that are funding and supporting the GOP and MAGA and Trump genuinely are sitting there going, yeah, well, he's not going to come for me, is he? Basically. And you just think, you're idiots. You're just idiots. You cannot see what these people are capable of. And it's the same thing in this country at the moment over immigration. And also, most of the faces coming over on these boats are barely brown anyway. They're not Indians getting in those boats, basically. So sticking an Indian descent person up doesn't really help, but other than for the, as you say, the ignoramuses that might sit there going, this is great, this is a brown person saying racist stuff just like me. But the next day they would bump into her and you know, tell her to fuck off home. So
performative cruelty.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
What the point Phil and I were making this afternoon was like this policy, this deterrent that they're trying to bring into bear, right? Even if it's 1/3 effective, which they say it will be, even if it's 2/3 effective, imagine that the figures, right, go down from 100,000 people coming in small boats every year to 33,000. That's still a couple of boats a day filled with refugees. Do you think the pictures of those are not going to be spread out all over the newspapers?
The nature of this anyway is you don't even need one person in a boat coming over because you can fake the damn pictures anyway or use old pictures, right? The nature of our media is that even if we got rid of all of them, even if we drained the fucking channel so that you couldn't come across in a boat anymore, Nigel Farage would find evidence. He would produce the evidence for the people that want to see it, and they would believe it. They wouldn't believe the channel had been drained even if you took them and stood them in the middle of it. We're in a situation at the moment where it is pointless trying to play their game unless you're willing to use their rules and fake everything and tell lies constantly, basically. And the problem with the Labour Party and the left in general is that they tend not to like to do that.
Yeah.
So fundamentally, they're not going to do it. They're not going to pull this one out the bag.
Exactly. You know? It's going to be a disaster for them, as most things Labour have done over the last 18 months have been. Big shout out to who was it here talking about Bagpuss? I just lost that. Andy, thank you very much for the eldritch horror of Bagpuss, indeed. Also, big shout out to Hannah. If you want to come join us, Hannah, you got the link. Hannah's watching. Hi, Hannah. And also, I wanted to say, Footum Shuck's got a joke. I bought a car that was powered by onions, but I could only get 30 miles an hour out of it. I took it to the trader and asked if my onion-powered car would go faster. Sorry, he said, that's Charlotte.
Did he pay to tell that joke? Was that a super chat joke?
No, that wasn't. Okay. That was just a joke. That was just
that was a freebie. Thanks.
A joke.
Very good.
Yeah. Very good. Very droll. Company's pointing out that, you know, England has been fucking horrible to the Welsh for a very long time, which you're absolutely right about.
Yeah.
And also to the Scottish. And I completely, as I've said on this channel many times before, if Scotland voted to leave the UK, I would completely understand why they did that, because they voted overwhelmingly to stay in the bloody EU, and England and Wales dragged them out of it. Now, my Welsh friends tell me that it wasn't the Welsh and Wales who voted for Brexit. It was the English and Wales that voted for RefUK, which, you know, I can't say that's not true.
I would know. support a Scottish. I mean, I've always had a leaning towards Scottish independence. Anyway,
you'd make a good Scot. You look like you could be Scottish if you were wearing a kilt.
I've got Scottish. Listen, is the only way I'd get an EU passport. I have no other heritage except some Scottish. Basically.
All right, okay, that makes sense. I could see you in a kilt.
I got married in a kilt.
Foreign.
My first wedding, I wore a kilt.
Did you? Are you allowed to wear a kilt with that accent?
I have a really nice black kilt upstairs that I've only ever worn once.
Oh wow!
I should get that back out.
Yeah, you should. Let's get married.
The allowed to wear a kilt thing is like anyone can wear a kilt. It's
what?
Fine.
No, you can't. You've got to be born.
Queen Victoria invented all those
bells of St Andrew's Cathedral or something.
Garbage.
What?
Anyone can wear a kilt. We're all related to the Stuarts in one way or another, so it's fine.
Are we? We're all related to Charlemagne, apparently.
Yeah, you go back far enough, we're all related to everybody. Canute was trying to prove that he couldn't stop the tide, but all the dumbasses said that he was trying to. Yeah, absolutely.
How do we know, though? Because I've heard both. I had a very pleasant trip this morning to Usher College in Durham, which is not part of the university. It was a seminary college for Catholic priests for many, many years. And more recently, it's become like a National Trust type place. Not part of the National Trust, but no, it's like a big stately house that you go in, and they have like art fairs, and they have all things. And they open up the library now and again, and you've got to book in to go in there because it's only quite a small library. But they've got some really fascinating books in there, and they sort of change around what they're showing. And they had an original copy, first day edition, not just the first edition, but the first day edition of On the Origin of Species by Charles Darwin.
Oh, really?
And apparently, they have 5 copies delivered on the day it was published. They were brought up by train, specially from London to Durham. And the Catholic Church did not allow the parishioners to read On the Origin of Species, but the priests could read it because they needed to be able to understand the argument so they could argue against it. And apparently, of the 5 copies they had, only one's left. And there's lots of notes in the margin, things like circle stuff and blasphemy and damn you, and apparently they would have very epic arguments about it, and the books ended up getting defaced, ripped apart, thrown against the wall, and all kinds of stuff. But there's one remaining copy of On the Origin of Species. I just thought it was funny that the priest got it on the day it came out, but the people who went to the churches that the priests were giving the sermons at weren't allowed to read it until the 1970s. But then the Catholic Church didn't forgive Galileo for saying that the Earth went round the sun until 1989, I think it was.
It was John Paul, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was John Paul. John Paul II.
John
Paul I.
I'll tell you what that reminds me of. I recently watched on the iPlayer the series Human. Which is about the sort of evolution of Homo sapiens. And the woman that presents that is Ella Al-Shamia. And I had a podcast interview with her, which was more fascinating than the show. The show's very good. I'd recommend watching it. But she was talking about how she became an anthropologist and or an archaeoanthropologist. And she was a devout Muslim. She came from a very devout Muslim family who believe in creationism, just like devout Christian evangelicals do. And she literally took the course because she was very good at biology.
Yeah.
And she wanted to take the course to learn enough to prove creationism was true and Darwinism was wrong.
Okay.
That was her entire intention on this course. And within a year, the evidence had convinced her that she was wrong and the rest of her family were wrong. And she became the biggest proponent for Darwinism there ever has been. But with this lovely spiritual lilt that she's got to it in what's amazing about humans. And I thought that it was more, I think there would have been a better series about her and her transformation through evidence, basically, to an extent. And I wonder how many of those priests sat there and read that and went, fuck, the game's up. We're absolutely screwed. Well, what are we going to do?
I think the Catholic Church embraced evolution. Maybe it wasn't evolution, it was the Big Bang they embraced the Big Bang theory because they were like,
because it was an Italian
it all started
scientist
from there, and
I mean, I went on the honeymoon to Rome, and we went to Castel Gandolfo, which is the Pope's summer residence in a volcano. I mean, it couldn't be more James Bond, basically. There's this great big lake in a volcano and a holiday resort around the lake. And then up on the hill is a palace for the Pope. But right on the top of this volcano is the Vatican's observatory with one of the best telescopes in the world. And it was a Catholic priest who discovered that I think he proved Hubble's theory that we were just in a galaxy amongst billions of galaxies. And it was him that went, yeah, that looks right. And confirmed the Big Bang theory and everything else. So.
Well, that was the thing with Darwin, wasn't it? They asked him to work out when Easter was going to be for the New World, because they only knew when Easter was going to be exactly, like the moon before the feast. So they didn't have enough time to get the message over to the New World. So the New World was celebrating Easter when they guessed when it was. And sometimes it wasn't syncing up. So they were like, Galileo, you're the cleverest man we know. Can you give us the dates of Easter next year? And he went, yeah, I'll do that. And he made some observations with his telescope and, wrote them all down, did some calculations and said, okay, I've got you the date of Easter next year. Not just next year, but I've got the dates for the next 100 years. And they were like, how the fuck did you do that? And he went, well, you see, it's easy once you realize that the Earth goes around the sun. And they went, what? What did you just say? What did you?
That's not
and
true.
He spent the rest of his life under house arrest.
Yeah.
And I'm getting told it doesn't go round the sun. It gets dragged around by the sun. It's kind of the same thing though, isn't it? I mean, it's all relative.
Everything is in movement.
Everything's in movement.
Motion.
Yeah.
I was watching something the other day that said that the DeLorean traveling at 88 miles an hour wouldn't be fast enough for it to end up in the same place in America in 1955. It would need to be traveling at 17,000 miles an hour plus, basically.
Well, yeah, because that it would just pop into, unless it could travel in space as well as time, it would pop into existence a few million miles back where Earth was back in
the only time machine that gets that right is the TARDIS.
Yes, time and relative dimensions in space.
Yeah, it's a spaceship as well, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, good old TARDIS. And also, I like the fact that TARDIS, the time travel stuff that works, Quantum Leap and Doctor Who, and I'll tell you why it works, because there's no determination. They don't say we're going to go back to do a thing, or to put something right, or to kill Hitler. They get bounced around. In Doctor Who, it's by the TARDIS. In Quantum Leap, it's by God or whoever. Someone's bouncing him around time, but he has no say where he goes next, because once
that series ever resolved. Was there ever a last episode of that where they said it was this bloke all along?
It was Sam. It was Sam. That's what they said at the end.
He was. It was a paradox.
It was Sam who was bouncing him around because he wanted to help, and that's what he wanted to do, and that's why he was going to all these places, but he couldn't control where he was going to. They'd made the last episode. I think they filmed it for the end of the penultimate series, but then they got an extra series. So if you watch it, you'll notice that some of the production is a little bit sketchier than it was for the rest of the last series, I think.
Because it was leading up to a narrative arc that
it was filmed,
didn't happen.
Yeah. And they filmed this ending where Sam went back to his birthday. There was the date of his birth. So Al couldn't find him because he wasn't looking there. And it was in this weird place. And a lot of the people in this mining town that he was in were people who had been in earlier episodes of Quantum Leap. So it's the same actors who came back for like this special at the end. And the one thing he never got to do, and this is the predetermination bit, where you decide that you're going to go and do something. There was a leap when he went back and he spent time with Al's fiance, and Al was away or his first wife, I think. And he was away in Vietnam. He had been taken as a POW, but they said he was presumed dead, and she went off and married somebody else. And when he got back, he was devastated, and that's why he had so many wives. And Sam went back and told his wife that he was still alive. That was the last bit. The Quantum Leap. And then he said Sam Beckett never returned home, and he spelt his fucking name wrong.
Why has nobody turned that into a movie? There should be a movie.
They did a remake. They did a TV show, but it didn't feature Scott Bakula at all, which was stupid. It was the guy from Lost. It was the Korean guy from Lost, I think.
Oh, right, okay.
I never saw any of it, but yeah. I mean,
there should be a movie with an old Scott Bakula having some influence over a new character, shouldn't there?
Well, it worked well as a serial because we went to different times in his own life. But what I thought would be good is doing it now, because I haven't seen the new series. I think it's been axed anyway. But it'd go back and say, "Oh, just put something in the microwave," and in the 50s they go, "What's a microwave?" and no one would know, right?
Yeah.
But the amount of, like, in my lifetime, the amount that technology has changed has been absolutely insane. And comparing like the 80s to the 50s, it's not that different.
No, there probably were microwaves in the late 50s, basically.
Well,
I think they were invented in the late 50s. Well, but there were definitely nothing like a mobile phone. That would have been...
Or the internet. And so for someone to go back, a millennial, to go back maybe before, you know, and pick up a phone that's got a ring dial on it.
Yeah.
What do I do?
I mean, regardless of the supposed impossibility of traveling backwards in time, the theory is that you'll only ever be able to travel back in time as far as the invention of the time machine that you use to travel back in time. That's one theory that says that if you could get over the physical problems of traveling back in time, then the only way you could do it is to travel back within the period of the existence of a time machine, which kind of works for quantum theory to an extent.
Yeah, I don't think you can go back. I think you go forward. Definitely go forward in time. That's an easy one.
You can go forward faster. You travel fast.
Go travel nearly at the speed of light. Go somewhere where there's a lot of gravity. Fucks with time.
Yeah.
So 5 minutes for you will be 500 years for Earth.
Well, and we do
see what life is like 500 years in the future.
Like in a really tiny way. If you walk in the same direction that the Earth is spinning, and another person is walking the other way, then actually you are traveling faster in time than them, basically, relatively.
But if two twins and one of them gets in a spaceship and flies around very, very fast. Oh, hello, Hannah. Hannah's like, stop talking nerd talk, nerds.
It's a late one for me. Sorry, I had guests this evening, and hence the Superman pajama. It's so cold.
Oh, I know.
It's very cold.
It's free. I'm up in Durham. It's like -5 up here. It's ridiculous.
I thought in my terrace house, so you get the benefit supposedly, like it's scorching in some of the other heat from the other houses, that it would be fine. No. I've been using my like reptile temperature gun, thinking my heating is on, like reluctantly, but it's on.
Yeah.
And up, and I'm like, this is still telling me my lounge is like 18 degrees.
Yeah.
Can we not?
My heating upstairs is packed up for whatever reason. Somebody's coming out to fix it on Monday, but it's been that way all year, and it is freezing up there. It is currently 12 degrees upstairs.
Wow.
Yeah. The heater down here is working, luckily, so I just stay down here most of the time and then run upstairs to bed, basically.
Like my electric blanket is on, the heating's on. Mum was like, are you cold? Because my parents live like a few streets away. Mum was like, are you cold? Why are you wet? Because earlier I had like full long sleeve top, t-shirt, that hoodie on, and my beanie hat, my famous TikTok beanie hat, on indoors. Mum was like, why you still got your hat on? I was like, because I've got heated socks that my boyfriend me. Best thing ever, may I just say.
Heated USB socks. Brilliant.
Love it.
Amazing. But Mum was like, do you need to come and stay at us? I was like, it's not that bad. Like it, but it's not.
My mum and her husband their house is constantly freezing. It is just always cold. When I go and stay up there, I can only last 24 hours before I have to go somewhere warm, like a bus or something. Just going, sorry, gotta go. I'm freezing my ass. I don't know how they're still alive. I really don't.
I just took a swig of my coffee and it's awful. And I thought, bloody hell, Cat normally makes me a nice cup of coffee. Then I realized it was my own coffee. I made it myself. I just made myself a bloody awful cup of coffee. But at least I don't have COVID because I can taste it.
So the problem with this outfit, Hannah, is that I'm going to be critical. Sorry, right?
What?
But the whole from down to your chin, Clark Kent. But you're kind of giving away
that you are Superman.
If Clark turned up on a Zoom call with the Superman dressing gown on, we'd all go, "Hang on a minute, hang on."
Going out to the party, people says onesie time starts at 5 p.m. here. Get on the onesies.
Hey, and you've got like my full untanned, like proper, like shiny, slathered myself in moisturizer glasses on, Hannah, today. So
excellent. We got we got a Vendetta says, I didn't want to get up today because it was so fucking cold, which is, you know, fair enough. And this is a very British thing, isn't it? This is something that we can all join together and complain about the fucking weather. Oh, Miss Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. In 1988, I sat at a computer in Melbourne using another computer in Bracknell, and the comms were super fast. There you go. 1988.
That would have been mind-blowing, though, in 1988. You would have sat there, every letter you typed and somebody responded to, you would go, "Look at this, it's fucking amazing. Look at it. Look at what just happened."
I remember
it took 5 minutes for somebody to play tic-tac-toe with me, to play 2 moves.
I remember having a conversation in 1995 with my brother. Hi, Mike, if you're watching. Who I was trying to play Doom, and to play Doom with 2-player, you had to literally get your mate to bring their PC over, which like weighs a fucking ton, and you had to link it up using a serial cable. Do you remember? And you could play like 2-player Doom, right? And I said to him, you know, should I get one of these modems, and then I can just like dial me mate, and we can play Doom over the modem. And he just went, "This internet thing, it's going to be a flash in the pan." It was like the guy from HMV who said to
one
the
day,
Beatles,
Graham, there'll be a modem in every town.
Guitar bands are going out of fashion. No, I'm not interested. Don't sign the Beatles. But yeah, flash in the pan. But yeah, I feel that way about AI. And Hannah, we were talking about AI a bit earlier, and Mike put out a brilliant cartoon today, basically saying that, you know, he wants AI to do the laundry.
Do the laundry and my admin. I don't want it to write books while I do the laundry and the admin, basically.
Yeah. That's what we want AI to do, the menial tasks that we can do the creative stuff.
Yeah,
but
I don't want it drawing fucking cartoons, basically.
It's so well weighted towards doing the artistic stuff, but it does it so badly. It's like what is it, Fiverr, where you're paying people like a $5 to do some art for you, and it's shit because you paid them a $5. What did you expect? And it's like that, but
There's
of
always weird about it. And this is what I think I spoke out on here before, where like quite a prominent brand could have afforded to pay me had used my face,
scanned you.
Oh god, yeah.
Like, and I did the job somewhere back in it, you know, and it's off the internet now, thank God. But I'm sure it lives forever, I'm sure, somewhere. But it was my face, and this brand had actually casted me. So obviously didn't have a problem with what I looked like and were interested to start with. Chose not to cast the actual model they had seen and met, and is not an asshole to be around all day. And then just like shoved my face on a different body. And there's something so inhuman about it. Like whether you're, you know,
the uncanny valley thing.
It feels wrong. You can always tell, I feel. Like there's so many AI videos and stuff on TikTok now where some people can't tell, and I'm really surprised by that. And they're like, "How could you do this with it?" Especially there's a lot of like animal ones going around right now that I've noticed. I don't know. My TikTok's full of animals because reptile keeper, so makes sense. But I'm like, how can you not tell that that's not real?
We were talking about this earlier with the moon landing stuff, like all the evidence, all the photos that are out there, and people still don't believe that's true. Even if you understand the technology of the time and how difficult it would have been to fake any of that at the time.
Difficult.
But people just don't care, do they? Like if it fits a narrative,
you could not have created that. There's no fucking way.
No, you'd struggle with AI to fake it now.
Yeah,
to make it look like that, basically. That would take a lot
Pete
of
in the chat is just getting all reminiscent on us. He's saying Doom on Link was awesome. Lights out, sound right up and drunk. Spare pants on standby. It was brilliant. It was so good because I'd say your mate had to bring the computer, like, but obviously they had to bring a monitor as well and a keyboard and a mouse to play the fucking game. Yeah, you had to bring the whole thing in order to play the 2-player version of the game. There's none of this GoldenEye split screen thing going on.
Would it? It would be the big thick ones we started off with at school.
Yeah,
floppy.
CRT monitors.
Yeah, with floppy disk drive.
And there's
huge arguments on TikTok now about whether hard floppy disks, which had a hard case, but the disc inside was floppy. They were floppy disks. Were floppy disks or not? And you've got these Gen Zers going, they weren't floppy. They weren't. And these old millennials going, I remember my discs. My floppy disk was hard.
I remember discs.
I remember
assignments on there. It was like the equivalent. Floppy disk was like the equivalent of like your modern day USB. I mean, now you'd airdrop things or just send it as a PDF file, wouldn't you? But
yeah.
It went floppy disk. We had mini discs for a bit. Do you remember the mini discs?
Yep, I have mini discs. Yep.
And that was like, oh, this is very fancy.
That was essentially like a CD that you could tape on. You could make your own mixtape.
And then USB, and now we just have airdropping. I felt very old the other day. Like all of my work people are like Gen Z, and they're like, "What do you mean you wear trainer socks rather than the ones that like go halfway up your leg still?" That shows that I'm a millennial apparently. And they bumped their phones together, iPhones, but they bumped their phones together, and pictures went across, and I was like,
"Yeah." There used to be an app that did that I miss on the Android called Bump, literally. That you used to be able to do that on. That 10 years ago, but they stopped it because of the security problems. I guess Apple to Apple is a bit more secure.
Yeah,
I don't.
To bring together the discussions we've been having tonight, Vendetta's put AI could fake the moon landings now with all the astronauts looking rainbow coloured and 20 fingers and 3 arms. It's very true. But so Coca-Cola has brought out their Christmas ad, and it's done with AI. Have you seen it?
I've not seen it.
So there's no consistency. It's got the trucks, the famous Coca-Cola trucks. Yeah. Coca-Cola's coming, whatever. Yeah.
Different trucks in different shots. Different
each
villages.
shot is a different...
Because you can only do a 10-second clip at any given time.
There's no continuity. There's no continuity between the shots.
The main way to check AI video nowadays is that if each scene is 10 seconds long, then it's pretty much guaranteed that it's AI because... it's expensive to make it any longer than that, and difficult to sustain because it's like with a JPEG where you used to get the jaggies on a JPEG. If you shared a JPEG too many times, you got these problems in the picture because you're not actually sharing the picture, you're sharing a set of numbers, and sometimes one or two of the numbers disappear and it just makes up what should be there. And that's what's going on with AI. It loses continuity after about 10 seconds. It can't remember the things that it was doing at the beginning.
Miss Paula Thomas is asking if anyone remembers 8-inch floppy disks. Did you remember them,
Yeah.
Mike? I remember 5.25 inch. I don't remember 8-inch.
I had an 8-inch floppy drive.
Did you?
Yeah.
Great days.
I remember getting the first ever hard disk. The first hard disk.
You got the first hard disk. The first
Not the first
made.
ever, but the first one I ever got
first
to
edition.
use. I was working for a company called Cotton Computers, and it was a 1 megabyte hard drive. And I thought I was in heaven.
That will fit one picture.
You could never create enough stuff to fill this. What can I do to fill this drive? And now I've got something like, 40 terabytes of storage on this PC, and it's full.
Chris C says, I remember zip drives. I remember zip drives. They were like between floppy drives.
Actually, they were all right.
Drives.
It was a tape.
A tape, but you could take it out and move it around with you. People and 5.25 inch floppy. I said 5.25.
Punch cards. This from 66.
I use punch cards.
I'm guessing the 66 is probably the year you were born, because I learned computer programming on punch cards.
What? Are you Ada Lovelace?
No, when I was 15, we started. My school started the first computer studies course in the school, and I didn't sign up for it in my options, but I went to the classes anyway, and we programmed a remote computer at the local technical college using a terminal, and we had to do it with punch cards. And what you had like 10 minutes access once a week to the mainframe computer in the tech college. So you wrote your program and you created the punch cards, literally punching out holes in these cards. And then you put it in to run it. You had 10 minutes to upload it, run it, and see if it worked. And it never fucking worked, basically. So then you'd come back and spend the next week debugging your cards, literally.
Wow.
Vendetta
I'm that
says...
old. But the thing is, I'm not actually that old, right? So it's like you were saying earlier, Graham, about the way technology has moved on. We genuinely do forget how quickly this has all happened. This was the 80s that I was doing that, the early 80s. It's not that long ago. It's 40 years ago, definitely. But it doesn't feel like a long time ago at all. For me, it's just been a progression of shit technology that I've had over the years, basically.
Yeah. Well, Vendetta say my first hard disk drive wasn't very big on my A1200, which was an Amiga. But I did have a 256 megabyte RAM on it, and it's true you could get a CPU upgrade, and you could have 256 megabytes of RAM on an old Amiga.
You were rich, Vendetta.
Wow,
rich.
Wow. Would have been going around to yours to play. Oh, actually, Doom never came out on the Amiga, did it? Oh well, never mind. Ernie Burns says a council did a mural that was full of nightmare fuel, like dog chickens and snowmen with teeth. They had to take it down. So there was a council that used AI to make a Christmas scene, and it was just.
You see, I'm currently inundated with adverts on YouTube for AI software or an AI agent that will read your emails, work out how you reply to emails, and write all your replies so that when you wake up in the morning, it will tell you all the people it's emailed. And I'm like, well, if everybody adopts this, we're just never going to go and read our fucking email again, are we, basically? AI will just be communicating with itself permanently, and we'll end up with commitments we didn't know we'd got, wedding invitations that we'd agreed to go to, but nobody had told us we were going.
Communication breakdown happens, and no one's living the life they're meant to, and no one has a clue what they're meant to be doing at any time whatsoever.
Yeah, email is bad enough as it is, isn't it? Really, it's a nightmare to go into and go, okay, is there anything reasonable amongst all this spam that I've got?
Oh my god, trying to get rid of my protein as a gym girly that likes to lift a heavy weight is like trying to break up with a harassing ex. It's like, I don't know. I've unsubscribed and still.
Why have you left me, Hannah? Why have you left me? Surely you need some more protein, Hannah.
50% off.
Look at this protein. It's half price today, Hannah. Please come back. We love you.
All the time. And even if I'm not, I definitely unsubscribe. Now it's Christmas. I'm back. And I'm just like, fuck off.
Well, so we were talking a little bit about the shit that's been going down this week. So we talked a bit about the Nathan Gill going down for 10.5 years for espionage, for being a treasonous motherfucker, and the effects that this might have on. If I was the Labour government right now, I'd do everything differently. But one of the things I would do is I would go after Farage with everything I've got. Absolutely everything. All guns blazing. Go after him. Investigate him. MI5, MI6, the police, the secret agents, whatever. Fucking task force, get on him and pick through all his rubbish, pick through all his shit for the last 40 years and find a smoking gun and say, right, that's it, you jail 10.5 years, bye.
Here's the thing, you would probably find it, but I feel like a lot, as you guys said something similar earlier, there appears to be different rules for left versus right. Like, sorry, it's blindingly obvious that, like reform voters have, beaten their wives, kicked them on the ground, done all of this stuff, and they get fuck all repercussion. And then Rayna messes up something. She kind of... She
filled out a form wrong. How dare she?
She filled out the form wrong. She received wrong advice. I feel like she probably should have gone further and double, triple checked herself, maybe checked with other people. But it is what it is. It was, I feel, a mistake rather than purposeful, malicious. Yep. And I think that's the difference a lot of the time here.
Yeah.
And she's out because she does the responsible thing of going.
And yet, even in a direct comparison, Farage buys a house for £800,000 cash in Clacton. Nobody asks a question. It's like,
no.
Obviously, I think the difference is that Farage would never, of his own volition, defend women's rights or say that beating up your wife was a bad idea. Basically, he'd never say that unless one of his MPs was caught doing it. And on the left, you know, whether you call it woke or whatever, we talk about those issues and we deal with those issues, basically. So we're judged by those standards. And I think, you know, it's the thing about Prince Andrew or Andrew, whatever his Mountbatten fuckface name is nowadays. Like, you know, the guy's not much older than me, right? I remember growing up, that guy being almost a hero in terms of being Randy Andy, you know, fucking everything that moved, basically. That was the story in newspapers constantly about him. So when it turns out that he's fucking young kids, you kind of go, oh, yeah, well, that's kind of what the rich do, isn't it, basically?
Yeah.
I think people give them a pass because they've already built up this story about themselves that that's the kind of thing businessmen do. That's the kind of thing rich people do. Trump is the classic example, isn't he, of like, he is a caricature of a naff rich man.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of his supporters... Yeah, I think a lot of his supporters, even the women that you see interviewed about it, will turn around and say, well, you know, I'd let a rich man finger me in a bike shed, basically. And if you said, would you let him do it if he wasn't rich? They'd say, no, of course not.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's very true.
So I think they just get away with it because of that. That's the story that's been fascinating me at the moment is Kash Patel and this 28-year-old fucking country music singer in Nashville. Right, his girlfriend that he's using FBI planes to fly around the country is going to shit wrestling matches in the middle of the week when he's supposed to be running the fucking FBI.
Yeah.
This guy is in his 40s. He's no kind of looker in any way, shape. I'm not being, you know, in any other way. He's an ugly little twat. And also, before he was in office, was not rich. He was literally a blogger and a TikToker. That's what he did, basically. And when he loses this job inevitably soon, he will have to go back to that world. And he's not going to be able to afford private jets for his 28-year-old girlfriend then.
No, not at all.
She'll drop him like a stone.
Yeah.
She will drop him like a stone, basically.
It is
and the fact that he's deluding himself into believing that this woman loves him and that he should throw his career and everything else on the line for it. And that also nobody in MAGA, none of these Christian fundamentalists are questioning any of this.
No,
basically.
But if you talk to them, you can get them to admit that, like, it's bollocks. Do you know what I mean? Like, you talk to a RefUK fucker around here in Durham, and you point out that Nigel Farage only does stuff to accommodate, you know, for rich people. Like, what's he done for us? And these dickheads putting up flags everywhere. They've made the house prices go down by 5% in the area because people don't want to move somewhere where there's fucking rags on every fucking lamppost, making people feel unwelcome, of course. So they're bringing down the price of the area to put up these flags because they want to show Nigel how much they want to suck his cock. And you go over to them while they're putting up, you say, excuse me, can I ask why you're putting that up? Oh, because I love me country. Are you sure? Is that why you're doing it? Is it not just that you want Nigel Farage to look at you and go, you're great? But Nigel Farage has cost this country an absolute bloody mint, and he's only ever looked after himself. And you say to them, what's the policy? I mean, you know, if I was a millionaire and they wouldn't give me a bank account at Coutts, I would totally vote for you guys.
Yeah.
But I'm not a millionaire, and you have nothing for me, absolutely nothing. You're not going to help me get a job. You're not going to help me buy a house. You're not going to help me afford to have children.
No.
Nothing.
And he doesn't offer any of that to the people that want to vote for him either. And I still cannot comprehend how these people don't fucking understand that.
Yeah. Well, they do if you talk to them, because the only information they're getting in is from all the tabloids. So today, for instance, front cover of the Telegraph, everyone else was like, oh my God, the Tories killed 23,000 people by locking down a week later than they should have done. 23,000. That's ignoring all the other people who died. That is just for them not knocking down a week earlier. Or if they had actually put measures in place at the beginning of February in 2020, we wouldn't have had to lock down at all.
Yeah.
And was that what did they have on the front cover of the Telegraph, Mike? They had what a waste of money for this inquiry. They said this inquiry is a waste of money. Yeah. That was the front cover story.
Did you see the text? I hate to say anything good about Matt Hancock or even bring his bloody name back up out of the cauldron, but did you see the text exchange between him and Boris?
I didn't.
So, to paraphrase it, it's Boris says, "You're doing a great job, Matt. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help." This is very early on in the pandemic. And Hancock replies to him saying, you're doing a great job too, boss. Suck up. And then says, there is actually something you could do. Encourage people to look after older people who are going to have to isolate. Encourage people to wear masks more often. The sooner we do this, the better. And Boris says, right, I'll get on it on Monday. I'm off to the rugger.
Oh.
Basically. And you kind of go, that typifies what happened then. But I've been watching the COVID inquiry almost all the way through, right? And sometimes there are 74 people watching it live. It's no surprise to me that when they come out with their first report, the newspapers just diss it because nobody's actually been interested in it for the last 2 or 3 years.
I haven't seen any of it, and I am interested, but it just sort of dissed with all of the other shit on.
Yeah,
there's a lot of shit going on right now. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up, and I think there's a lot of, especially in this country, a lot of immigration, asylums. Immigration and asylum seeking is also different, and I feel like the media sort of like shoves them together. There's a lot of distraction at the moment, all the stuff going on from Russia. There's a lot to comprehend, and people have a very short memory, particularly people that are less like us, that have we have a very particular interest in politics. It's like one of our passions, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you can truly care and still be going about your daily life and not think like us. Like, it's just that so much that happens week to week that COVID.
I know so many people that tell me they just don't pay any attention to any of it anymore.
Yeah, and I have friends similar ages, some are quite a bit younger, some who are very passionate about it, and some who go, I actually just can't face it. So I choose not to watch it.
Yeah.
It's depressing.
That's normally what people say to me. Yeah.
To be honest, I totally understand that.
I had just as a research project, obviously, I on my Bumble profile, it used to say, likes to, what kind of person are you looking for? Somebody that likes to talk about politics. And I used to get a lot of responses that say, I don't know anything about politics, some ditzy response or something, or I don't talk about politics or whatever. So, and then I thought, well, probably I'm just not getting, there's a lot of people just not clicking on it because they're nervous of somebody that wants to talk about politics. So I took it off, and I got so many more people contacting me, and they're all fucking conservatives. It's like,
that's why they don't want to talk about politics, because it's sort of
exactly.
Have you tried holding a fish?
There's a cartoon of me on my Bumble profile of me sitting on a motorbike holding a fish.
I mean, if you were on Grindr, I could sort of squint my eyes and go, yeah, okay, I understand you're trying to impress other men with your massive fish, but I've never, ever, ever met a woman in my life who said, what I'm looking for is a man with a massive fish.
No. Absolutely.
That cartoon does get the most comments.
Red flags.
People respond because it says on the cartoon, I have never done either of these things. Basically, so, it's very meta.
What are the red flags, Hannah? Go on. What apart from the fish?
Flags, particular flags.
Any flags? Yeah, fair enough.
Hunting, like you killed a deer or something. Hunting of any kind includes fishing. Sorry, does big fish? No.
It is hunting.
MAGA hats, the usual stuff. Any like finance bros, little bit. Sorry.
I've got rules as well, though.
Yeah, I worry that if I ever have to date again, there will be so many no's for me. I'm in my 30s to be. I'm big enough and ugly enough to go, you're out on first date. You're a dick if you don't do certain things. If you weird vibes, if you say something that I'm like, you're out anyway. But it is scary to me how many red flags there would be. Like, especially because also sometimes you don't know, sometimes you just don't get a vibe. And lots of people my age are dating and they're like, it's fucking terrible out here. And then when you finally find somebody you think is very attractive and you have like a little bit of a good chat, and then you go and you meet in a public place in the daytime, you do a coffee, you do a something, and it goes well. You think, oh, I'm just not sure. So you then say no. Then their bullshit comes out because they're so offended. You don't want to see them again. So it's like, even that isn't safe if you've had a nice time, but feeling.
I think men need to just get over themselves. You know what I mean? And like, If someone doesn't want to go out with you, they don't want to go out with you. It's fine. You know, it's.
I don't understand like the begging and the insulting, because if you want to see me again, I'm not going to fucking beg for your attention. That's pathetic.
No.
I'm just taking notes here, Hannah. Thanks for
that.
Stop
Graham
begging
Price,
for dates.
My friend Graham from Liverpool says, to be honest, I've never met a gay man that was impressed by a massive fish either.
No.
No one's impressed by your big fish. Put your big fish away, lad.
You know what?
This is what we need. We need a YouTube channel that gives dating tips to men that actually fucking work.
Well, the flip side of it is that the number of, and it's particularly relevant in December or November, when the number of pictures that are taken on holiday in a bikini, women basically of my age, and you're kind of sitting there going, well, that's at least 6 months old, that picture, and I get that basically. And then weddings, wearing these tiny little hats.
Yeah, that's
a definite no for me. Anyone that wears a tiny little hat, they're out basically. But what I get about that, what I totally understand about that, is that people want to use pictures. And like, I'm an obsessive selfie taker, so my ego is big enough to have decent photos basically. But most people are not very good at taking photos of themselves. So the best pictures they have of themselves are when they're on holiday looking their best and tanned and everything else. And when they're at a wedding, when they've dressed up and done their makeup and everything else, and somebody else is taking a picture of them. So I get it, but I also think there's a massive market.
Oh, hello.
Okay,
Mike, what happens, Mike?
Take a photo of yourself without your phone in the.
Hello?
Did I freeze?
You did. A massive market for taking a picture of yourself without your phone in the picture. I think
it's another no, right? Anyone that can't take a photo of themselves without their phone in the picture, i.e., they're taking a picture in the mirror.
Well, here's a top
tip.
Picture
is this, because they're going, I look great in the mirror, basically. And you go, yeah, but your phone's in the way. Put the phone over there and put it on automatic. Basically.
Top tip for your photos on dating profiles: get your friends, preferably friends of the opposite sex, if you're trying to attract people from the opposite sex, to pick the photos for you. Do not pick them for yourself. Top fucking tip.
Proofread your profile as well.
Someone told me that, and I went, all right, pick some photos for me. And honestly, my swipe right rate went through the fucking roof. Because it wasn't a picture of me in a stupid hat going. The
other thing, while we're on this subject, there is one other thing, Hannah, that you can maybe explain to me, right?
Big fish.
Pictures with a group of friends, right? Normally on Bumble, there's about 5 or 6 photos, right? And somebody will put them up, and there'll be 5 female friends in the picture, and then the next picture is another 5 female friends, and the next picture is another 5, and you constantly go, which one are you? Just which one are you?
No, this is also a red flag. I want to see you, and I don't want to see when I met my partner, I did not put any of my modeling photos up, because if you say what you do for a living, and I to start with, I often say I work in advertising, because technically that's true. Because if you say I'm a model, you look like a fucking twat straight away.
Oh damn, that's what I keep doing.
Shit. I'm
okay,
taking
write that
notes
down.
Here,
Don't say I'm a model.
Stop saying I'm a model.
Right. I definitely shouldn't say I have a private island, should I? That's like a third date revelation, isn't it?
No, that's bad. We know we love you.
When I pretend to be you on the dating apps, I'm constantly telling people I have a private island.
But no proof. Please don't make me scout through your other social medias and search your name to figure out who you are.
Yeah,
that's fucking annoying. And don't use this was my professional in my business suit. I had this taken for some business thing. You look like a twat. Okay, even though it's a very nice photo and you look very handsome, please don't do that. Please. Okay. Normal, natural photos that would mean I recognize you when you show up. Because on my dating profile, many years ago now, there was a couple of me in the gym and selfies where I'm doing my weights because I met my partner on fitnesssingles.com. Because I wanted someone who would hike and do weights and had similar interests. So there were a few gym selfies, but it was some no makeup, some normal natural smiley, couple with I don't know, in the outdoors. They were all life photos, not professional I've lighted it perfectly so that when I turned up, you would know, oh, that's me, and you feel like you have a bit of a personality also.
Because you're in snow gear with a pair of skis in the middle of Ealing.
Like I've tried the snowboarding and I've tried the skiing, and I've decided
maybe what you should do. Maybe I should put a picture of me holding a fish and then turn up for a date with it. Actually, just permanently carry around a great big fish.
I would love to be a fly on the wall if you ever did that.
At that date, yeah, that would be great.
For the date with the massive fish.
And you'd have to name the fish, though. If you had the fish have a little collar or something, and you named it, at least a conversation starter.
And you name it. You name it after
sketch.
one of your ex-wives. It has to be named after one of your ex-wives.
That is a great comedy sketch. To a woman on a dating app, and she's like, fishman. Oh, this doesn't have a fish. Brilliant. I'll go out with him. And he turns up for the date with a fucking fish. There you go. There's your sketch right there. Thank you. You just take it. Take it. You can have it.
This is my carp. I call it Debbie because it's after my ex-wife. And we've got a few things to resolve.
People who talk about their past relationships. Stop it. Stop talking about your past relationships. Someone said dating in your 60s is a bit like a job interview, except less fun. And I think that's, I don't know if that's true, but in a job interview, you don't say anything negative. Don't say anything negative. That is the rule. You're on a date, please just don't go on about someone who's done you wrong in the past. No one wants to hear that.
I think the problem is, though, a lot of first dates involve alcohol, and alcohol, I don't know if you anything, but we, especially with the girlies, like we've all had
like my Terry's chocolate orange Baileys.
Nice. Wait, what flavour? Terry.
Terry's flavour.
That's literally, you are literally trying to lure women in with that, aren't you?
This is my fish.
You want to come to my house in Durham? I've got some chocolate orange Baileys.
You got some Baileys. Come have some Baileys with me. Sorry. Anyway, Hannah, what are you saying?
When there's alcohol, like you are chatting, you like most people overshare a little bit, don't they? And so if you have got any sort of like slight trauma and someone gives you an opening, I know I've been guilty, not on a date, but random nights out, you meet someone there. Oh my God, how are you meet in the girls in their toilet trips, obviously get very close very quickly. Women, I think, more inclined to overshare than men, probably, especially with people they don't know.
Yeah.
I have a story.
Point where that's a big risk. So I feel like first dates, coffee dates, safety for women, public, short and
for the last 2 years, this is probably why I don't have a partner. For the last 2 years, I've been dating sober. But the first time I ever did that, and I won't give her the nickname I normally give her because it's her actual name, basically. But let's call her five glasses woman, right? I go out, I'm not drinking. She has 5 large glasses of wine, right? No food. It's 10 o'clock at night. Absolutely pissed, right? And she does this thing, which I recognize from dating when I was drunk, which is she leans in and says, so whose house should we go to? And I said, I'm going to put you in an Uber and you're going to go home. That's what's going to happen.
So gentlemanly of you.
It is. But I did walk away from the pub after she got in the cab going, I don't think I'm ever going to get laid ever again. It's like, you can't have morals. But then there is another thing, which
there is sometimes when
some people that I've become friends with after dating.
Yeah.
Right. And we talk about dating and what their experiences of that is that actually talking about old relationships can be quite useful, I think, particularly for women, to find out what kind of a person you are in a relationship. Because I think it goes on a lot. There is a lot of conversation in the early first few dates about previous relationships. And I think I used to think it was annoying, and now I can understand what it's about. It's about trying to work out what kind of a person you at least were in other relationships and what you've learned from that. Because the key thing is about learning anyway, isn't it? The whole thing is about analyzing yourself and just working out, like, what is going on with me? Why do I behave this way?
First time. So making mistakes or not communicating properly, all of that kind of stuff makes you who you are at the time that you then decide to go out and find another relationship. So helpful where the line is, like where you overshare or don't. If you're bitching about the last girl to me that apparently was a psycho, and you're certain kind of language, I'm like,
Sorry, can I just cover the fish's ears while you talk about her like that?
But yeah, and I think the dating world has changed a lot from singles ads in the newspapers, from meeting someone in church, meeting someone at work. I mean, people are working from home now. People are working 0 hours contracts. We're not meeting as many people.
And it is now the worst form of social media that exists. Basically.
Yeah,
dating.
Yeah, it's essentially people projecting their best self constantly until they don't. But also, the swipe leftery, the fact that if you just kind of say something slightly wrong in the chat or whatever, basically to somebody, then you're out. That's it. That's the end of it. It's ghosted. It's all horribly. I mean, personally, I kind of treat it that way now. I found more friends through dating than anything else.
Yeah,
friends,
and I think that's probably a good thing. It's not the site I'm using, Graham. I don't know what.
But yeah,
interestingly, Bumble used to have a tab for friends to find friends, but within the same app.
Oh,
yeah, it was kind of okay, but it felt really weird because one of the things I find really awkward about when you find somebody that you are interested in on a dating app and you're interested in talking, you go back to the dating app a lot to see if they've messaged you. And one of the problems with that is that you know that it's like going to a nightclub to try and meet somebody that you saw 3 weeks ago. You're putting yourself into a situation where it's all about dating and other people will message you and whatever. So the sooner you can get off the damn app and start talking to somebody, the better. And that's when you start to find friends.
This is another thing now. It's hard to make new friends. You make friends in school, you make friends in uni, but like...
What Bumble worked out was that by taking the friends, but they've created a new app, Bumble Friends, and it is literally about trying to find friends rather than... So there's nobody in there supposedly trying to date.
Yeah.
They are literally just trying to find friends.
Say, Hannah, what were you going to say?
There probably are a few.
Yeah, definitely.
Being like, chance my luck here. I'm going to put myself in the friend zone. And
if the fish won't work in the Bumble app, then it may work in the friends app.
I object to the term friend zone, because I've used it in the past myself, but it's kind of that thing of like when you would never say it about one of your friends with the same sex as you. No. The friend zoned me.
No,
but it's almost like an expectation that they should have sex with you, and if they won't, then they've done something wrong. They've put you into the friend zone, or even worse, the bro zone, where they actually tell you that you're like a brother to me. But like, yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of the wrong way of looking at things, because there is that whole idea that men and women can't be friends, and I've got lots of female friends who I haven't slept with, I don't want to sleep with. I'm not bothered, like, in that respect. But I know a lot of men who just cannot have female friends. It just doesn't work. They've only got that friend because they want to shag them, basically. And when they don't, the friendship falls apart. But at the same time, dated girls that I'd like to still be friends with, but we're not because we dated. So
yeah,
I take some pride in the fact that most of the people I've dated in the last 2 or 3 years, basically, we still communicate all the time now. So.
Yeah. And I'm very similar to you, Mike. Like, one of my absolute best friends, and he is like a brother now. Like, we still say love you, and he calls me Squidgy, because that was my name when we dated for 6 months. I continue to live with him afterwards. I love his new partner, not that new anymore.
Yeah.
We love each other and we have like a super close bond, but it just wasn't going to work. He's like an older brother. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
And I think very insecure future partners, depending on your past experiences, I think that makes a difference, will be very unhappy with that. But actually, I think
it's very. Yeah, I'm going through this at the moment.
I've made with my exes, my proper ex-girlfriend, not someone that I've just dated for a few weeks, but like proper. I'm still very, very good friends. I had my friend, my ex from school when I was in school, texted me the other day to ask for the phone number for my Australian ex. Because she had a mate going to Australia and they wanted to meet up. It's just whatever.
You want to be careful, mate. They're all connecting.
They're all connecting.
All
I said, do you want to get in touch to bitch about me? She said, no.
Fine. If it's really done and you knew it wasn't right, you spent a lot of time getting to know that person on quite a deep level. And for me, I feel like good relationships come from a base of friendship, and that provides the foundation. Because I think, people fall in and out of love. I've been with my partner for like 7.5 years now. We have hard times, good times, whatever. Like the base of best friendship is always there still. And there'll be better times and worse times of romanticism and all that kind of stuff. So when you've been so close to someone, unless it's ended badly, someone's cheated, there's been real hurt there, stuff like that. I do find it so weird that you can just hurt someone like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think
I've always said that, like, everyone I've ever been in love with, I am still in love with at some level, basically, because otherwise you'd be completely inauthentic to yourself. You'd be admitting that you were faking it at the time.
Because you love with who they were as a person, or
and where they were in your life at the right time. I've made some amazing friends through the last 12 months, and it's been through dating, but the attempt at dating. And what's genuinely changed is that I think the lack of drinking and also the health issues meant that I genuinely wasn't really looking for sex, to be honest with you. I think that's what's changed in me. When I analyze me at the moment, you kind of go, what has changed? Why am I so much better at being a friend to these people? And you suddenly go, it's actually because you've taken the complication of that out of the system for a while.
Well, I found when I was dating, I did better when I wasn't trying that hard. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I was like, I'm desperate, I'm so lonely, I need to find someone. And I wasn't getting anywhere. And then I just sort of kicked back and just went, I'll just, take it as it comes.
It's always when you stop.
And not get all butt-hairs.
But there is always the danger that you end up with somebody that both of you are at exactly the same phase of going, I'm leaving this app next week unless I find somebody. And then you go, oh, hello.
Yeah. So, I've
been there twice.
But Graham Price saying a friend zone is basically saying I like you, but I think you're ugly. No, I have friends who I know are very, very attractive. They just fucking are. But no, I don't want to have a relationship.
I really
with
appreciate
them.
you saying
Mike,
that, mate. Thank you.
Gorgeous man, sexy Santa, you.
Yeah. No, you're right. But it goes back to what Hannah was saying about same-sex friends. Is that you wouldn't ever say to me that you're jealous of a relationship that I have with Aid. Basically, like
I am. I am though.
I knew that was coming.
He's not even on top of your tree or nothing.
Yeah, but he sends me poems. That's all I can say. He understands me on a deeper level than you do, Graham. That's all. But it's the physical side of you that I find attractive.
Thank you. Cheers.
Whereas Aid, it's his mind.
Right. Good to know.
And Scott, well, we all know about Scott's big fish.
Yeah, it's got a massive fish. Oh my God, it's the biggest fish I've ever seen. Anyway, we should probably wrap it up here because it's midnight and we've rambled on far completely off topic.
Advice.
Yeah,
we're going into the Andrew Tate world now, where we're giving dating advice out on YouTube. Basically,
he doesn't give dating advice. He gives advice to men to not ever have sex ever again in their lives by treating women awfully, and women, unless you're very, very rich,
the opposite.
Aren't going to take that shit.
We're the answer to that.
Yes.
Basically.
My dating advice, just if I can leave you with some, as a woman, and see my TikTok. Bit further back than is the politics stuff that I've been doing recently, is to not listen to the dating experts that are giving advice on women.
Yeah.
Listen to women. Look at the comments underneath that are telling them that's not how women think. That's not how women want. They don't need a six-pack. They love a dad bod. Personality, humility, loyalty, funny, similar interests, all of that stuff counts.
Yeah.
Want someone who's genuine, lovely, and treats us nicely. That's it. We don't care if you're wealthy. We really fucking don't.
you have to be a bit funny though? Like, you have to like be able to make a joke, don't you?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, thank God for that. That's me sorted. Anyway,
Darian Distar says Hannah is very wise,
and Darian's like, you are number one. You are number one. So well done for winning the chat this evening. Darian Distar takes the prize. I just want to say thank you to everyone for watching. Everyone who's said something in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us in that respect. If you want to give us a like before you go, we always like a like. But also, you could also subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. But if you are, hit the bell notification icon. Let you know when we are going live with more content. This content is available as a podcast. You can listen to it on YouTube Music. You don't even have to look at these faces. You can just listen to our dulcet tones instead. And that applies to all shows across the board on Politics Social. So enjoy and have a great weekend. Thank you very much to my co-presenters, Mike Dix and Hannah James. James even. Jesus. And also to Aid Thompson and to Scott Williams, who joined us earlier in the evening. And like I say, have a great weekend. And it's goodbye from me, goodbye from Mike, goodbye from Hannah, and everyone's going to say ta-ra, bye.
Ta-da.
Ta-da, mate.
Bye. All right.